Surprise, man.
Oh man. Yeah, so are we live yet? Yep, we're live. So um we're on JoobyviewTV. TV. Roland Jean Charles, 1/3 of the JoobyView crew.
What's going on? Ken Jean Pierre, 2/3 of the Juby View crew.
How you
Yeah.
doing, everyone? Harold Jean-Louis here, 3/3 of the Droopy View crew.
Yeah, so today is going to be a very interesting topic. JoobyView is about, reviewing apps or reviewing venues, real-time reviews. JoobyView TV is to, provide people with some content to kind of, bring them on our side and see the greatness that JoobyView and what we're going to do or whatever. And so today I wanted to talk about something a little bit controversial. And we've done this a little bit last week with Walking. We looked at some videos and we commented on it. But today what we're going to do is we're going to critique the entire Vice hit piece on Andrew Tate. Now, this video came out, this documentary came out probably a week or two ago on the 12th, I think sometime last week. It's been getting the run on, different social media platforms. A lot of people were, making comments on it. And I just thought, three intelligent Haitian Americans that are tech entrepreneurs, we have our opinions too, right? And I want to see which one of us has something to say about it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, play the video. At some points, I'm going to stop it and do my commentary. If you guys want me to stop it at some point and you think it's interesting so you can make commentaries, just let me know. I'll stop it. And maybe there'll be points where we all three, stop it at a single point and do our commentary. So I'm going to go ahead and start that video. The video, and we're going to go through and we're just going to talk about what we see and, see how people like it. Can everyone see the video?
Yes.
All right, cool.
Do you ever wonder why some people who you've never heard of before all of a sudden appear everywhere? Andrew.
Now, I'm stopping it kind of early. But kickboxing is a real tough sport, bro. I started kickboxing maybe about 3 years ago. I'm telling you, I have black eyes, bruised knees, bruised ankles. To get to a point where you are a champion, that's really hard work. And when you look at Andrew Tate, you would never think that he was a kickboxing world champion just looking at him, because he looks just kind of, regular. But there's a lot of props for someone going through and making it to that level.
Okay. I mean, I'm not going to deny that. I was in wrestling, and I see a lot of people transition into ultimate fighting, and that's just like another level, right? So yeah, I would endorse your message.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's continue this.
Andrew Tate is an Anglo-American kickboxer turned.
And so I'm gonna stop it again.
Really?
Really?
Hold on. I gotta make this point. I don't like when documentaries are not accurate, bro. Well, if you're gonna start talking shit about someone, whether it's right or it's wrong, be accurate about what you're saying. He's not an Anglo-American. His father is black, from Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. His mom is white, from England, if I'm not mistaken. And so he is of mixed race, and he identifies himself as mixed race. So if he would have said, Andrew Tate is of mixed race because that's what Andrew identifies himself at, I'd be cool with it, right? He identifies his father as black, or if he says, oh, Andrew Tate, his father's black, his mom is white, I'd be cool with it. But when you come with the Anglo-American, that's just trying to pivot him into a certain vein, because right now, being a white guy is not cool, right? Not there's anything wrong with that. But if you want to take shots and not get in trouble, the easiest person to take a shot at is a white guy. Other than a rapper, white guy's the easiest thing to take a shot at without being called something crazy, right? So that's just my 2 cents on that.
Influencer whose extreme misogynist videos have helped make him the most viral man in the world.
Bang out the machete, boom in her face, and grip her up by the neck. What's up, bitch?
On December 29th, he and his brother were arrested by Romanian police as part of a rape and human trafficking investigation.
The Matrix has attacked me.
A few months before their arrest, I was in Romania trying to get access to their so-called secret society, the War Room.
The War Room is the most powerful network on the face of the planet today.
Andrew Tate,
To get inside, I had agreed to endure a professional cage fight in Romania.
I know he's gonna lose, but wow, he's actually in there.
Along with 100 Tate superfans.
We shouldn't be slaves. We shouldn't be working 9-to-5 jobs.
I need to improve. I need to get better. I need to evolve. I'm not tough on myself. Nobody else will be. That's what I learned from Andrew Tate.
This shiny hole. Hold on to it.
What I found out
My plan was to sow anarchy.
is that this recent arrest appears to be just the tip of the iceberg.
This is definitely a hit piece. I don't care.
The real story
We clearly conquered the internet.
began years ago.
There's not a single female complaining.
Do you think there's not a single
No.
female complaining?
Have you seen one? Tell me.
My ex-boyfriend was radicalized by Andrew Tate. He was sweet, and I guess vulnerable to being brainwashed by Andrew Tate and his cult. People just
Using the words like radicalized, bro, like it's definitely a hit piece. Like you think he's part of the Taliban? Radicalized?
So War Room, I thought I saw an ad on that. I didn't have no idea what the hell they were, to tell you the truth. It looked like they were military dudes, though. This
No.
doesn't seem like it's that. This
The
doesn't
war.
seem like that.
It's
It looks
simply
like a fight club.
Just simply put, the War Room is what he calls his basically is his program. And he calls it the War Room because he feels like, there's a war, meaning like against anyone who's like, putting on the image of being a masculine man. There's a societal war against that image, right? So to combat that, he calls his gathering, or what he does in terms of like his courses online and things like that. He has courses teaching, I guess, financial literacy and teaching all kinds of other things, and he calls it the War Room. So that's basically what it is. It's not a militant group or whatever they're going to try to paint it as. It's basically his course that he's selling online. And inside of the course, he has all these modules or whatever the case may be, touching on all types of businesses and different topics and things like that. But he calls the whole thing, he calls it the War Room.
Okay.
So he has two different programs. One is his school, right? And the school is where you pay $49 a month and you're able to get like 19 or 20 modern wealth creations. He also has different courses that teaches you how to be masculine, how to talk to girls, how to be your best self. If you join that and you are okay, or you are good, you have the opportunity to join a War Room. You don't necessarily need to join that to try to join a War Room, but like Welcome was saying, the War Room is the way he fashions it is a group of people who are important and they are productive and they help each other in many different facets, right? Whether it's business, whether it's getting out of a country that's war torn, whether it's getting multiple passports or whatever, they are able to help each other out of sticky situations. And I think all men need a tribe. I've always believed that. Back in the day, I used to tell my girl, go hang out with your homegirls. Like, women need that camaraderie. They need that estrogen around them, And then I think men need to be around men to do men's stuff. Maybe it's, fighting, maybe it's business, whatever it is. But that's how we sharpen our saw, we refresh, and then we get back into life and we do what we need to do moving forward. So that's kind of what it's about. To me, it's not a negative thing. Some people do see it as a negative thing, but anything that's going to help men progress, I think is a good thing. I'm going to continue the video.
and what he's done.
The dangerous rise of Andrew Tate. Jesus.
I know, right?
If you haven't heard of Andrew Tate yet, it's only a matter of time before it pops up on your newsfeed. His videos have been viewed over 11 billion times, and in July, he was more Googled than Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump. He's been called the king of toxic masculinity.
He has said that rape victims should, quote, bear responsibility for being raped.
We're about to enter.
And so that's not what he said. And I don't want to go into the validity of what he said or how he said it. I let Walken do that because he's the one working on being canceled. But but that is not what he says. That's how that's the oversimplification of it, but that's not what he said.
His compound in Romania, which was raided earlier this
Wait, should you guys think I should explain what he said?
I mean, if you're gonna say all of that, I didn't, I haven't heard every single word that's come out of this man's mouth, so I have no idea what clip they're talking about.
So I haven't heard every single word that comes out of anyone's mouth, right? So not his, but he's explained it several times, right? And so his perspective is women are valuable, right? And they should protect themselves from harm, right? It's not their fault if someone tries to rape them. It's not their fault if someone tries to harm them, but they need to be aware that of their surroundings and to be more, just protect themselves better, right? The example that he gives is if you have $1 million in a briefcase, or if you have a Philippe Petit watch, the watch that Walken says that I don't have, would you walk in a neighborhood where people are broke and poor? No. Why? Because you wouldn't want to put yourself in a position where someone would try to harm you to take what you have, right? And so he's like, people know they shouldn't steal, but they steal anyway, right? People know they shouldn't rape, but they rape anyway. Instead of trying to change people's psychology or psyche or try to predict what they do, just protect yourself from that happening to you in whatever way that you need to. That is his basic premise, but he says it in a way that makes it more controversial so people can, click on his message or videos or whatever, right? But basically we're saying women should do more to be aware of their surroundings, be aware of what they're doing, protect themselves from those types of things as much as they possibly can.
So
now, was there anything controversial about that?
No.
I'm
So,
sure.
I mean, media people are gonna do what they do, right? So
Right.
they have to make it sound spicy and all of that stuff. So my question is this: this is a 40-minute message video.
Mhm.
Are we gonna decide to cut off every single time, or should we do it in
No.
5-minute increments?
I mean, we can do it in 5-minute increments, but once we see something, it's on top of my head. I just came out and say it, right? before I forget it, right? But
Unless
we
we're
can
gonna like record this and break it into like 5 different episodes.
Yeah, listen. They have YouTube videos that are hours long about this, right? And so let's just keep it entertaining. If we ever get tired and we want to stop it, we can stop it at any time. Like, we don't have to watch the whole thing. It's 40 minutes, right? Because I mean, this is not like I don't want this to be like a movie where we're just sitting here watching the whole thing and then comment afterwards. I want us to interject during the points that resonate, right? Or the points that we object to, or the points that we want to comment on, right? So you all can stop me at any time, say, hey, stop here, I want to say something, or you can just start talking and I'll stop the video, right? It's just because I have the controls, I'm just stopping it. We aren't seeing bullshit, but you guys have just as much right as
have a
me.
meeting later with our social media manager.
Oh man, shoot, bring her on and have a comment too.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
this year as part of the rape and human trafficking investigation that led to his arrest in 2022.
Is that true that you sequestered an American girl?
It's not even pretty. This girl's average. She's ugly. I don't have time for this bullshit.
What about the rape accusation?
That's not true.
Hello, is this Andrew Tate's house? I'm Matt.
Okay.
Hey, hello.
Just a second.
His shirt says gun is fun.
Cool, yeah, you just let me know when we're allowed.
Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Hello.
Those are some
hello.
nice cars, though.
This place is giant.
Dude, can I hit a call?
So I can show you a lot of it. A lot of it's like
Can you have what?
off limits. But I can show you some of it.
All right, stop it, man. Hold on.
Show you how scary you are.
Is this the normal?
What?
Bro, you killing me. I'm trying to hit a call. Or it sounds like somebody called the house. I'm trying to hear how the conversation transpired. You're talking about the dude's shirt.
Who's talking about whose shirt? No one's talking about anybody's shirt.
You said something about the gun. Something.
But no one
Right.
called anybody.
Am I bugging, Harold? Wasn't there a phone call? Didn't
Nah,
somebody?
it looked like the guy walked in and introduced himself.
Yeah, they were just walking and talking.
Okay. Can I hear the conversation transpire without you commenting on the man's cars? Stop being a groupie, please. Jesus.
He's the guy in the movie theater.
He's in it.
That's gonna talk. And he's like, nah, man, don't do that.
He's like, oh, look at the cars. Stop being a groupie, bro.
The groupie for cars? Really?
I kind of like cars.
I can tell. Yeah.
This door leads to. I can't take you.
That's the only reason he's not commenting right now, Kenny.
Those are some nice cars, bro.
Areas of security. So
Yeah.
when I point classified, I'm basically saying don't make them put a gun in your face. Got it. TV, which I never watch. World title belts. I was 4-time kickboxing world champion.
And what's this painting over here?
That's my brother.
Who else lives here? Is it just you?
I live here with my brother. I think you get the best version of yourself if you live with other competitive men. I don't have loser friends. I like sitting down with people and discussing how we can make money from the conflict in Ukraine. That's what I enjoy. I don't want to talk about TV.
He wants to make money from the conflict in
Hi, by the
Ukraine.
way, sorry to interrupt. I'm Matt. Georgia, good to meet you. What are you up to, Georgia? Working.
So Georgia actually got arrested with him and his brother and one more person in out there in Romania when all this thing popped off.
So this is pre to that happening.
Yeah, so there was a raid back in April before he went out there. And then the recent raid was in December 29th. And so this happened in between December 29th and April and December 29th of last year.
Oh, there was a raid before. That I didn't know.
Yeah, there was one raid before. So the first raid happened. They're going to talk about it a little bit. There was an American girl who's actually from Miami, I believe. And she was out there partying at Tate's house, Instagramming or whatever. And then her boyfriend spotted her on Instagram. And she was like, they were like, what are you doing over there at Tate's house? And that's the story. I don't know if it's true or whatever. But and then he was like, what are you doing at Tate's house? And she was like, oh, they got me here. They won't let me leave. And so because of that, he contacted the American embassy in Romania and said, hey, my girlfriend's being held kidnapped at the Tate house and they won't let her leave. And so they raided the house. And then after they raided the house, they found out that they saw her going outside to get pizza and coming back. So they know that she wasn't staying there behind outside of her will, because she was just leaving and coming back as she saw fit. And then some other people had videos of her twerking and dancing and everything like that, having a good old time. And so apparently from what they say, she's out there messing around with Tristan, doing what young people do. And, you know, she didn't want to tell her boyfriend she was doing dirt. So she made a story up. That's what they say. And that's how all this started up in April.
But okay, so that's the story that came out. Well, that's the story that came out even on the December 29th thing, though. So they came out and they said that they based that whole raid off of that story that you just said. So if that was the purpose of the raid for the April, well, if that was the purpose of the raid in April, then what was the purpose of the raid in December?
Right. So from what they're saying is they needed time to do further investigation, right? So they did the raid, they let him go because they didn't see that anything was wrong at that particular time. Now they're coming with more serious charges, and so they're saying that there are women that are coming out saying that they were raped. There are women coming out, like the one saying that she was kidnapped, and they're saying that there's human trafficking. And Tate himself, he said in his past videos that he was that he has connections to the mob in Romania, right? And if you have connections to the mob in Romania, if they're trying to get him on a RICO case, that's the angle that they would go to try to get, to take you down. Because even if you don't commit a crime, if you're part of a group that commits a crime, particularly if you're in leadership of that group, then you go down just for the fact that the group committed a crime, even if you didn't participate in that particular crime yourself, because it's you as a syndicate, right? And so they're piling all these things together to try to take him down. But the thing is, he has cameras all over the place. And so when it comes to the rape allegations or the kidnapping allegations, I think it'll be pretty easy for him to show, I didn't hold any woman against their will. But I think when it comes down to their connections with the mob, that's going to be a little bit harder for them to explain, or harder for them to make sense of, because if you have connections with people that are bad and they do something bad and they can make some type of financial connection that, you either give them money or they gave you money, because part of what they're saying that they do is money laundering as well, because the casinos that he has in Romania, he got those casinos because he made a deal with some Romanian mobsters that he met while he was kickboxing, right? Because the Romanian mobsters own a couple of kickboxing championship groups like the UFC, but out there in Romania. So he was like, "Hey, look, I want to get into the gambling business or casino."
I remember him telling that story.
Right. So you know that story, right? And so because of that connection, though, right, because he partnered with them on that casino business, if they can show that the Romanian mob is doing anything out of pocket, then they may be able to kind of pigeonhole him in there.
If he's in bed with the Romanian mobsters, they're gonna try to basically, connect him to that and get him down on, or get him to roll over on somebody.
Right. And this is just my assumption. I don't know if it's true. I don't know if it's accurate. I could be totally off. I have no idea what I'm talking about, but that's just my assumption. I think the rape and the human trafficking is just what they're using just to pull him in, and then they're going to press him on other stuff, because that's how, the feds out in America try to get you anyway. They pull you in for something small and then they hit you with the hammer, right? Something that has nothing to do with you, but they think you can help them, pull somebody else, and they try to get you to rat or whatever. So I'm thinking that's the direction they might try to go.
Right. But I just saw something like either today or yesterday that they seized his cars or something like that.
Yeah. And they try to seize his house.
Yeah, they're getting deeper and deeper.
Yeah. I don't know what his cars got to do with it, unless they're saying those are getaway cars. I don't know, but we'll see.
That's hurting Roland in our special place right now. The cars.
Stop it.
Like, why do cars have to be involved?
Listen, when you get a Porsche, you'll understand.
Ooh.
Gotcha. Seems like we should play.
Shots fired.
Assisting him in his human trafficking operation. Hey, how's it going? Hi. Hey, how are you? What are these guys up to?
Conquering the world, my friend.
Through what means?
I run Hustlers University, which is now currently the biggest online educational platform in the world. We grow extremely fast. We have 110,000 students inside of a year.
Hustlers University. For $49 a month, Andrew Tate's online Hustlers University promises to teach his millions of followers the secrets of modern wealth creation, from crypto trading to dropshipping.
It's a big deal. It's the biggest online school in history.
Is this a sharp sword, or is it kind of a decorative sword?
I did a Tate speech about why I have this sword. A Tate speech is like my YouTube channel, Tate Speech.
Yeah.
And I talked about how the number one problem with the world is that not enough men walk around their houses with swords.
Mm-hmm. That's up there for sure.
So many of the world's issues could be fixed. For example, the woman panics. She sees something on TV. The man comes home. She's like, "Oh, we go start wearing a mask." If the man walked around with a sword, and she's like, "Put a mask on," he'd be like, "I'm brave. I don't need a mask. I'm a commander." Fuck you. It's just a symbol of empowerment. You got your sword, your wife starts talking, you're like, shut up. I decide what I do. Be quiet. Cook.
Andrew's unashamed, optimistic, and violent views so far seem to match his YouTube persona.
That's the conversation.
I accept the invite onto the Tate.
What you say?
I
What'd
said
you
that
say?
would end the argument. Do this,
Bro.
and he's like, "What'd you say?" She's like, no, nothing."
But
He's like, yeah.
here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. Like, a lot of the things that this dude says is in jest, but it's just like we live in such a PC world now, and it's just like you can't say anything to ruffle anybody's feathers. You can't even be funny, and like, if anybody seriously takes this dude serious when he's talking about, I walk around with the I heard this dude.
You can't do that, Kenny.
Listen,
You know, we have a whole middle of America who's eating what he says word for word and taking it as literally as possible. With the woman that Roland just started off with, like, oh, my boyfriend got brainwashed or blah, blah, blah. We have some people who will literally take whatever he says and implement. So it is easily possible. We can laugh. And then there's some people who literally went out and bought a sword.
Okay, but listen, let me. All right, so if that's the case, then you got to do that. You can't just pick and choose when you want to do that. If you're gonna do that, then you're gonna do a blanket, like that's gonna be the standard for everything, right? So you know, when we got Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2 and Terminator 3 killing 75 people on screen, then that shouldn't be allowed either. If we're gonna, like, you could take this across the board if that's the case. If we can't speak in a way where it's like, you know, if I'm a public figure, I'm not responsible for raising your child. I'm not responsible for not even raising your child, because it's like they're talking about young men from teenage age to I guess early 20s who are impressionable or whatever the case may be. But at the same time, it's like when we fantasize and glamorize these movie stars or whatever the case may be, or rock stars or rap stars or whatever, entertainers in general, like they're not doing everything that they say. They're not. Arnold Schwarzenegger is not waking up on a Tuesday morning blasting people's head off talking about I'll be back. He's not doing that.
Fair enough.
So like if that's going to be the standard across the board, then don't pick and choose. Don't be a hypocrite and say, oh, he's got to get canceled. He's got to get thrown in jail because he said this. When in our daily lives, when we turn, if as long as somebody is putting it to a Hollywood script and somebody is getting payola off of it and it's being pushed in the media as a movie production, then it's okay. Then no rules apply. But if somebody is saying it just on his YouTube channel or just on his whatever, trying to get views or trying to be interesting or whatever the case may be, this motherfucker says interesting shit. So 90% of the shit that he says is pure bullshit and it's in jest. 10% of his shit that he says is actual, like, lessons that some men can use and apply to their lives to better themselves.
Not agreeing with that. I'm not agreeing with that. I'm saying this. People are really, really impressionable, right?
That's not his fault.
Okay, well, that people are impressionable, right? So if someone's swiping their card and paying $49 a month and they learn how to drop shit, they're going to get bits and nuggets of some things that are like, oh, snap, I learned about drop shipping, learned about crypto. You can't decipher at a certain point. Or I learned how to talk to girls and I went to the club and I bagged somebody at the bar. It's going to get to a point where everything he's saying is gold, right? And you decide if you're going to fully immerse yourself into it or you're going to be able to decipher, like, but if he gave me a good tool of 10 things that worked, the track history is this, whatever he's saying is going to turn into gold, right? So people are highly impressionable. Who's the one? Kevin Samuels? He passed away. That one passed away? Till this day, women are hitting me up talking about, their date and how horrible it was. And I'm like, did he said he's a high value man? She's like, yeah. I'm like, did he use this term and this term and this term? You're like, yeah. And she was like, how do you know? And I'm like, he's a Kevin Samuels follower. Like, literally, people learn the script, they follow the script, they go with the formula. People want shortcuts. And just because you and I can laugh, I'm not going to say, just like the guy who's going to the end of his days, use Kevin Samuels' lines. It worked for him at one point, and he's going to keep using it. Does that make sense? So, no, people are highly impressionable, and we can laugh about it, but nah. I'm going to say people.
And I'm going to agree with Walken here. And the reason why I'm agreeing with Walken is because if he cannot say the things that he say without him being accused of brainwashing people that he doesn't even know for the most part, then how do you justify any other art that does I mean, when you listen to comedians, they say things that are out of pocket that people listen to like it's gold, right? Like it like what they're saying is sacrosanct, right? You listen to Dave Chappelle, you listen to Kevin Hart. I think movie stars, like I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger. How many people tried to become like Arnold Schwarzenegger because they wanted to be muscular, right? Like, you can't sit there and say just because someone plays a part or someone has a particular viewpoint or expresses themselves a certain way, that their way of expressing themselves is bad or worse than somebody else. He's not breaking, well, they're accusing him of breaking laws now, but at the time, like, they weren't accusing him of doing anything out of pocket, right?
If you look
I mean, and hold on. And the people who are you're talking about Kevin Samuels, right? His message wasn't negative to men. His message isn't negative to women. Those type of women don't have to go out with those type of men. Kevin Samuels' message was simply, if you want that level or that type of man, then you're going to have to expect that these types of outcomes are going to happen. If you want that type of outcome, you need to be a certain kind of woman. But you don't have to go for that kind of man. You don't need to go for a man that makes 100, 200,000, 300,000, 500,000 dollars a year. The average man makes 40 to 50 grand a year. If you're happy with that, then you can be with that man and you won't have all the other stresses. But women don't want that. That's his point. You want the guy that provides at a very high level, and that guy has standards, and his standards are going to be expect you to be feminine, cooperative, and submissive. So I don't think it's fair to lump Kevin Samuels in that boat. And I don't think it's fair to say that what Tate is saying should be banned or whatever, but you can make a movie about whatever crap you want to make a movie about and it'd be okay. It's the same thing what's happening with Young Thug and his trial. They're using, his words and his music against them. Some people are okay with that. Obviously the prosecutors are. Artists and other people aren't okay with that. And the way I see it is like, when you have a movie script, right? Let's say I write a movie script. You go act out and you say everything in that movie script. And let's say that it was based on real life events. Can the DA come then and arrest you because you acted out and you said everything word for word that happened in some real life event 10 years ago? I mean, but that's the path that they're trying to go down, right? Because they're trying to say, even though we didn't see you do it, even though we don't have evidence of you doing it, because you put it in a work of art, we can then assume, or we can then say that you actually did commit these acts, even though we have no proof of it, right? It's tough. I mean, because they're blurring a they're blurring a line that they really shouldn't blur, because it can get really dangerous.
Okay. I think that from what Harold just said, that 2-minute monologue, it's like, to me, it's like the quintessential correct agenda. Like you just said everything correct. So guess what? Somebody like you would totally, you know, as far as like throwing Kevin Samuels into that conversation, that like the way that you did, it like you would go right along with the program. Like the program is less, you know, less female empowerment, women rule the world and men are toxic. Anybody who's has any shred of, you know, masculinity is just doing too much. So you fall into that agenda perfectly. What I'm saying is that if you have a voice, right? And we've seen this narrative pushed like super hard now. Like the backlash from, you know, Kevin Samuels and guys who, it's not like men don't think like this. It's just men actually think like this, but we, you know, well, a certain segment of men think like this, but it's like you have to be closeted. It's like you can't openly express that because you're too afraid of offending people, because, you know, you don't want to get Me Too'd. You don't want to have everything that you've worked for come crashing down. But the thing about it is, like, there are different types of men on this planet. Not every single man is going to be comfortable sitting around just, you know, falling in line with this agenda that's being pushed. Like, for example, I have kids. Now this goes deeper for me, man. I have kids. I have a young son that I'm trying to raise. Do you understand, Harold? You do not understand how hard it is in today's society to try to raise a son. Bro, the amount of just like, and there's nothing wrong with LGBTQ or whatever the letters are. I don't even know, because they add letters every week. I don't know what the latest version of it is. But listen, the amount of stuff as far as like in kids programming, bro, in kids programming, like the Disney cartoons, the stuff, you know, SpongeBob, the whatever it is, everything has sexual innuendos now, bro. Everything, like they got the little cartoons, and it's like, you know, I saw I think we talked about this before. My son was watching some cartoon and the leprechauns were getting married, and then, but it was the rainbow. You know how you got the pot of gold, so the rainbow was going to the pot of gold, and they were having a wedding ceremony, but both of the leprechauns had beards. One was the husband. It was the weirdest. Like, I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong with, you know, expressing your sexuality and however you want to, you know, express it as an adult. Once you decide that, okay, this is the life that I want to live. Well, why are you trying to press that on my 6-year-old son? Like, why does he have to be like super duper, like, while he's watching a cartoon, pushed these images? You know what I'm saying? So like, it goes deeper for me. Like so this whole agenda, I care nothing for it. Like I you know what I mean? Like, I want to raise my son how I want to raise my son. I don't need media telling my son, oh no, it's okay to cry. It's okay to, nah. You're a man. You're grown up to be a black man in this country, the most targeted man in the world. I cannot raise you to be some soft marshmallow kid who's gonna go outside in the real world and then not know how to deal with himself. No, I want to prepare you to be a strong man who's ready for anything, any possibility. And so, like, it goes much deeper for me. So I apologize if I went on a little bit longer.
You did. I had to take notes of what the original topic was about, but it's okay. I get you, man. I get you, and I hear your points. Definitely hear your points. Just to follow up with y'all two just had said, the reason I brought up Kevin Samuels was primarily because everybody was listening. It wasn't the high value man preaching his concepts. It was the guy making $20,000 at Burger King who's calling himself a high value man. Like, you know, so the nonsense women had to deal with were not high value men. It was just
but Harold, why is she going out with a man that makes $20,000 in McDonald's? And so I'm
just saying.
Hold on.
Wait. No. When you spoke, I let you go. Wait, hold on.
Hold on a second. I just want to clarify something. Let's conflate what we're talking about, right? Like one of the things Kevin Samuels always talked about was accountability, both on the men's side and on the women's side. He would shut down a dude quick. Right. $20,000, you know, overweight, working at McDonald's. Stop it. You're not getting one of these women. You're not getting a 9-10. You don't deserve that. You don't deserve a bad work. Continue working, continue making your money. When you get to that level, you'll figure it out. And so the problem I have with what you're saying, Harold, is whoever is trying to perpetrate or take on Kevin Samuels' words, Kevin Samuels himself would have shot them down if they didn't meet that. So let's not blame Kevin Samuels for what everybody else is doing.
That's still not stopping them from basically expressing.
But that's not his problem.
For their interpretation.
Right. That's not his problem.
So what we're saying here, let's hold on to that one real quick. If you have that type of person who jumps into a $49 program and they start buying a sword, just like we could say, why can't people decipher and differentiate? There are those people out there that are going to take it word for word, and whether they meet the standards or whether they can't differentiate what's real life and what's not, there's always going to be that group out there. That's what we were trying to talk about. I'm trying to stay in that.
So are you going to go to the movie studios and say, hey, stop making movies with guns because we don't? Why not? Because you're over here talking about you don't know how people are going to take the message, and they may just go out there. Listen, what Walker was saying was right. If you're going to apply that to these people, apply it across the board, because there are movies out there where people do all types of crazy stuff, and we don't go to the movie studios and say, stop making these movies.
So I just wanted to say, to conclude it, because we could go on to the next segment, would just be people are easily influenced. If we look at Trump, he was literally in office saying the most biggest nonsense, and we had a whole wave of people taking what he said for word, literally, to the point where we had the January 19th uprising, whatever the date was. Literally, it was a whole period of whatever he said. You had the people who were like, oh, that's nonsense. You had the people to be like really? Seriously? And you had the people who actually believed it word for word, to the point where we had we made history. Like, literally, how can we say this conversation? Like, we literally had example of what happened in the United States.
Watch this, Roland. Watch this.
I'm listening.
So using your exact logic that you just said, right? The January 6th insurrection, right? That's what you're referring to, right?
That's what we got. Yeah.
Okay. So Trump moved people. He said the most outrageous things, and they took it. You know, they didn't take it at face value. They took it to heart, and they went through with the actions. Right now, that led to a breach of national security. That led to a breach in national security, to where the White House, which is the all outstanding White House, and this is
Congress.
Okay.
They didn't go to the White House.
All right. So wherever it was, that led to a national breach of security, and that got swept under the rug weeks later. That's nowhere to be found. But Andrew Tate, is he a matter of national security? Are people threatening people's lives over Andrew Tate? Like, I'm trying to understand. Has anybody run up in any government buildings to defend Andrew Tate's message? but yet he's standing to lose everything that he's worked for, and he's being vilified and crucified. Whereas the outcome of what your example was to the super extreme max. And because it was like, you know, the demographic that was doing it, or whatever reason that they decided that, you know, hey, you know, we're going to push this narrative only to a certain point and then we're going to sweep it under the rug. It gets swept under the rug. So you have to look at things like that and understand that, like, yo, it's bigger than Andrew Tate. This is more about control and making sure that they make an example out of somebody who's trying to make us see through the bullshit that they're doing. And so if it's like you can't see the puppet strings being pulled behind this, it's like, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm not denying the media's objective or anything. In fact, I honestly am the one out of the three of us that has no idea about Andrew Tate's and his messaging and stuff. So in this, I'll be learning a lot, to tell you the truth. So I'm excited to, I guess, see a bit more. However, I will be tuning in to see if we have our social media strategists on the other line, and I'll tap back into you guys.
All right, you want to go check on tell you can have a no, don't make
it. Got too hot. He running.
Again, I said play. I said he could play.
He got too hot.
It is also a chance to get acquainted with his fellow people.
Shay, who is internationally renowned and respected. He's a folk singer, and he's going to sing us a song. Andrew's invited his mate on our show without my consent. I'm just going to have to bite my tongue and listen to you guys talk most of this emergency meeting. Otherwise, I'm going to walk off. So, Matt, can you introduce yourself? Tell them about your singing career. Tell them where you're from, etc.
Yes, so I'm actually not a folk singer at all in the slightest. No, sorry.
What? Are you calling my brother a liar? You lied to me.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen the clown that hides from gay people? Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. I found that hides the gay people.
So you've never seen it?
No. Is he here somewhere?
Strange. Well, yeah, he's right here. I see him. All right, let's be nice to our vice friends. Let me be nice to him before he does a hit piece.
This is definitely a hit piece. I've warned my brother that this is a setup, and this is what everyone.
I don't care. I'm uninterested. I've clearly conquered the internet. I'm clearly unstoppable. I'm like the board.
You've invited the liberal news media to come.
They can all come. Just because I'm wearing a gun, I'm violent. Is that how it is? Just because I got knives all over the table and I'm a kickboxing world champion, I'm violent.
If you are wearing a gun and you have knives, that does make you a little bit violent.
It makes no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
It's security aware.
I don't want.
You know, Jordan Peterson said, people think that soft men or men that are weak are favorable or preferable. And he was like, the true test of a man is a man that has the propensity for violence but can control it. Right? You'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? And to Walken's point earlier, trying to make men live in a fashion where they are gardeners in a war is not something that we want to do, right? Like, and him having a gun or him having knives, that doesn't make him dangerous to you. Now, if someone was attacking him or attacking his family or his friends, it'd be dangerous to them because he would have the capability to defend himself. And, you know, what Matt Shea is saying is that you having a gun or just you having a knife makes you a violent person, which is seen as a bad thing. And, you know, that to me is just bullshit. I'll continue unless you guys got something to say.
I agree, but go ahead.
I haven't said what you promised. It's a setup. I won't kick Vice out of my house.
I think a few more minutes, or we're done with it.
No, you can sing now, or you're off the phone.
During an ad break, Andrew breaks character.
30-second break.
Another 5 minutes.
Get you out of here.
You can talk shit back. You don't know what
Don't worry, I'm just not very good.
Now, does that seem like someone who's like like talking for real. Like once the camera's off, he's talking normal. He starts talk shit back. Like he's just putting on the show.
He's entertaining.
Exactly. When the camera's on, he's talking crazy. He's yelling. You got him like, oh, you know, talk shit back. Da da da. Like, come on. Like if people can't see just from this alone, that when the cameras are off, it's just cool. Like it's crazy.
I'm not really good at talking shit.
We've had a long career. We have to do our normal broadcast.
Okay.
Kicking him off the ball. Go, man. Have an idea.
Bro, this is going to be the worst documentary about us.
What they gonna say?
I don't know.
He has lots of cars and money. All the women love him. He's sexist. Oh no! Please don't put that on the internet. Who cares? Whatever.
Within minutes of being on their show, the Tate content machine snaps into action. Oh yeah. Wow. Already.
You promised to sing to me. If you sing, I won't kick Vice out of my house. You can sing now or you're off.
Tate brothers embarrass Vice reporter.
Yeah, take that back. I want to make sure that my army is fighting ethically for the
18,000 likes, 246 comments, 66 reshares. Oh, I accidentally liked it.
If you had to go to war, did you call your friends?
Let's see what people are saying. Tate win, as always. I'm impressed how easily he runs over weak men's arguments. He isn't people. Tate Brothers Embarrassed Vice Reporter was posted by a fan account that has 58,000 followers and 3.9 million likes, and is just posting loads of videos every single day. Right in the description of his account, it says, looking to level up your life, start here. It's a sign-up link to the Hustlers University. Another account. And again, a link to the Hustlers University. He's got a clever formula here. It turns out a big part of Hustlers University is an affiliate marketing scheme where boys as young as 13 are instructed to share controversial videos of Andrew with links to the Hustlers University underneath. If someone signs up through your link, you get 48% of their subscription fee. By financially incentivizing 110,000 students to share his content online, Andrew has essentially built an army to make him rich and famous in a very short space of time. And he's tactically avoiding the impact of social media bans because it isn't Andrew himself posting, it's his legion of fans.
All I'm doing is saying that the shit that everyone thinks isn't allowed to say. So that's the reason I'm all big on the internet.
I'm starting to wonder whether he's just a living meme.
You're a loser because your mentality is loserish.
Some kind of viral marketing campaign to swindle money from confused young men.
Swindle money.
That's what he says.
All I'm offering is the truth.
The dangerous rise. I love that.
Andrew first appeared on our screens as a reality TV star.
I've never been in a situation in my life so far in my 21 years where I really want something I didn't get it.
He had found an arena where controversial personalities thrive.
I have to manipulate a lot of people to win.
But something happened when Andrew was on Big Brother, one of the biggest reality TV shows of all time.
This is Big Brother. Due to events in the outside world, Andrew has had to leave the Big Brother house.
He was reportedly removed from the program when a video surfaced of him slapping his ex-girlfriend and then beating her with a belt.
Bitch. I didn't say the word listen. Did I say listen? Did I say listen? Did I say it?
So I'm gonna comment on that really quick. This girl came out with 2 or 3 or 4 videos saying that's what we did. It's like 50 Shades of Grey. You guys remember 50 Shades of Grey?
Never saw it. Never cared.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So with 50 Shades of Grey, Mr. Grey, I forgot his first name, he's a billionaire or something like that. And what he would do is he would engage these women that he would deal with, and he would say, hey, look, I'm a particular man. I like particular things, and I'm going to pay all your expenses. I'm going to take care of you. You don't got to worry about nothing. You have to sign this NDA. You got to sign this contract. You can't ever talk about what we do, but this is what I like. And he had a room with like BDSM, all types of weird, kinky, crazy stuff, right? and he used to have his girls like. I mean, you think Kevin Samuel's submissive, like 50 Shades of Grey, like these chicks when he used to walk in that room used to be on their knees in full lingerie, like ready for whatever. And they used to have like safe words if something got too crazy or something got too dangerous.
Pineapple.
Whatever it is, I know that's your favorite word. You know what I mean? And so it's not out of the. There are people who like that kind of stuff, is basically what I'm saying, right? And like I said, they made a movie about it, right? And I know Harold is good with people making movies about stuff. And so if it's okay in the movie, then why is it not okay for Andrew Tate and his girl who is okay with it to do it? Now, they keep saying that he actually tried to harm her, but she came out and said, hey, this is just kinky stuff that we were doing.
Yo, listen, bro, I'm going to tell you right now, bro. The older I get, the more that I realize that, yo, women are filthy, bro. Yo, women are fucking disgusting, dude. Like, in the sense of, like, sexually? Yo, the goody-goody priss women that you see walking around, bro? No, there's another side to them, bro. Like, I'm not going to reveal my sources. I'm not going to reveal how it happened, right? But not too long ago, bro, I snuck into a girl's chat, bro. I snuck into a girl's chat, and the stuff that is not safe for FCC airwaves, bro. Like, yo, women are filthy, bro. Don't get it twisted. Women are filthy. And the thing about it is, I think that stuff like this is closeted, it's backdoor, it's like it's like swept under the rug. But a lot more people are into that stuff than you would think. And it wouldn't be the people that you do think. That's the thing that throws you off. Yeah. I seen what I needed to see, bro. I was like, whoa. Let me get up out of here. This is too hardcore for me.
Claiming it was all part of a so-called kinky game.
It was just pure game. It's just what we used to do.
But what the public didn't know, and what we can now reveal, is that around the time that Andrew was playing Truth or Dare in the Big Brother pool, the UK police had informed the production company that he was under investigation for 2 incidents involving other women. One of rape, and a further of physical assault. In May 2021, Tate made reference to his arrest in an appearance on the Fresh and Fit podcast.
I was like, who are you? They're like, you're under arrest for a suspicion of assault of this dumb hoe. And I'm like, they didn't, but I'm going to protect her. I have anonymity because I'm a nice guy. Dumb hoe.
During this same period, the Tate brothers were recruiting women for a webcam sex business.
Oh.
And creating the first of their men.
So, and I'm not sure what period they're talking about, but his webcam business was like 10 years ago, like way before. And maybe if it's around the same time, like, yeah, it might have been
the Big Brother show.
Yeah, around the Big. That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Well, they said 2016 for the Big Brother show.
Yeah, and his webcam business was 10 years ago. Big Brother wasn't came in 2016. It had to be before that.
Here's my thing, right? So the business that he's in,
OnlyFans. People okay with OnlyFans is the same thing.
Okay, fine. But the problem is when he blurs the line so much, because first of all, he said that he was the one doing the talking. So like when the guys thought that they were talking to the women, they weren't talking to the women.
Right.
So he was the one doing the talking. So if anything, he's manipulating the men.
Right.
You know what I mean? He's manipulating the men out of their money to get them to spend more money. That's number one. The part that I said that, you know, that I saw a clip, and it was recent that I saw this clip. I don't, it might have been Harold. Was it Harold that sent this? It might have been Harold, because, you know, Harold is, anyway. But the clip was of Andrew Tate telling him on himself about how you know, he would tell the girls that he was splitting it 50-50, but really he was splitting the profits 50-50, but then he was splitting it 70-30 because he was telling the girls that he was accounting for tax, and he would deduct an additional 20% out of his in addition to his 50% cut for taxes, and he never actually filed taxes for them. So this is where he blurs the line so much in some of the stuff that he does and says. It's just like, if anything, if they're going to get him on stuff, they could get him on stuff like that, because he's self-incriminating. That was out of his own mouth saying that.
Well, so, but that's only if they have any proof that actually happened, right? Because
all they got to do is go back to financial records.
Right. But will you have, so typically financial records, they go back probably 7 years. So if anything that he was doing happened more than 7 years ago, chances are they're not going to find it. You're not going to find banks with records of someone's bank statements for more than 7 years ago. And unless you know exactly how much money that was coming in and how much he was getting paid and how much he's paying to those girls, it's very, very, very hard to say. Right.
Well, for fraud, you can go back on an unlimited amount of time.
No, but those records aren't usually kept that far back, depending on what institution you're working with. Like the IRS can only go back 7 years, and I'm sure they can dig deeper if they needed to for certain cases. But most of the time, they're not going back past 7 years.
I hear you, but if they're going to play tapes like that in jury in front of a grand jury, they don't even have to have the proof. They're going to use his own words just to sway the people to, you know, to get a conviction. And if it's his own words, it's just like, you know, if you're trying to assassinate someone's character and he's trying to defend his character, but then they're showing you saying stuff like that, then that's going to be counterproductive, regardless of if they can find the records or not. You understand?
Right, but there has to be some type of validity to it, right? Because if he's just saying it and it never really happened, and you can't prove it happened, then like, what are you saying? Like, what I'm saying is there has to be some type of accusation, right? And the accusation he has right now is not that he defrauded people out of money. That's not the accusation against him.
They could tie all of that stuff in when they're doing, you know, when they're trying to assassinate the person's character and they're trying to pin crime A to him. They're going to attach whatever else they can attach to paint that picture.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, you know, and this is basic human nature. It's like you can't unsee something, you can't unhear something. So when they say, "Oh, strike that from the record," that has nothing. They do that on purpose. That, you know what I'm saying? They'll put whatever that little piece of information is in the jury's head. They'll let it play out, and then your attorney has to go, objection, strike that from the record. This has nothing to do with the case, but they still heard it, right? So it's basic human nature at that point. You're playing on people's, you know, emotional, you're playing on people's emotions to get the outcome that you want. And my thing is, he's given them a lot of ammunition with stuff like that.
Many online courses teaching other men how to do the same.
I am her everything. It doesn't matter if I fuck someone else, because I'm her everything. She has nowhere else to go.
It was called the Tate PhD, or pimping hose degree.
She was a hoe, and I fought it instantly because she didn't humble herself when she was supposed to. And I'm glad I didn't waste any more time on her, because she's never going to be doing like my other girls do, living in my house, letting me fuck other women, remaining loyal.
and bringing me coffees and doing as I say.
Andrew has closed down the pimping hose degree to focus on the Hustlers University.
Lucas screen's compromised, yeah. So keep it super fucking vanilla.
But with a historic rape allegation in the UK, and the Romanian police now looking into him for rape and human trafficking, I want to find out more about his methods of recruiting women. Did you at one point say that the girls who started as your girlfriends and then work for the webcam industry, 100% of the profit goes to you?
I think in a lot of households in the world today, the man is in charge of the investments. I think that's not an uncommon thing. Tell me a view I have that you think is genuinely insulting or destructive to society. I'd like to hear it.
You would prefer younger women who are 18 or 19 because you can leave an imprint on them?
No, when I say leave an imprint, I mean that. I understand what you're trying to say. You're trying to say that, like, if I get her, I can brainwash her. I'm not trying to say that. If you meet a girl who's 22 and you're her second boyfriend, she's probably like a nicer person, less jaded, less upset, less suspicious.
So you like to be in a position of power?
It's not being in a position of power. It's about, I enjoy to show her amazing things. You're trying to attach things to the situation which aren't true.
5 years ago, you said rape is a terrible thing, but if you put yourself in a position to be raped, then you should bear some responsibility for that.
Okay, so first, we agree that rape is a terrible thing. The point I'm trying to make is the best way to prevent yourself from being raped is to have a degree of personal responsibility and not put yourself in positions to be raped, as opposed to standing there saying that rape shouldn't happen or men raise our boys better. You know what else shouldn't happen? Robbery. I want the freedom to walk down the road with $1 million in cash.
Is it fair to compare the desire to walk around with £1 million in cash to someone wanting to just walk around their own city at night?
Well, female beauty is extremely valuable.
Of course, female beauty is extremely valuable in the eyes of men who seek to exploit it.
I don't give a shit about having sex with beautiful women. I fuck them so they listen to me, so I can get what I actually want, which is not them. It's a means to an end. Every single Bond girl was exploited. That's exactly what I do.
Have you heard the term lover boy before?
I want to hear Harold's input on that. That's just something I just think is triggering to Harold, and I think it's gaslighting Harold. And I know Harold wants to say something, so go ahead, Harold.
He's playing his part. He's doing whatever he needs to do to get a rise out of anyone, and that's what I'm seeing. I just think that there's always the people who actually are taking it word for word, and he's gonna work his magic. I mean, if he had a PhD program and had an audience from, what is it, Pimp Hose degree or something? He's already branded himself a certain way. Just because he's named it something different, I think it's the same exact damn audience. So just because he added a crypto course and a finance course and he can pad it, he still already is morphing, whether he calls it something else in the future years. It originated with Pimp Hose degree, turned into Hustlers and whatever. He's staying within his lane. This is literally him. He's going to twist the rules or whatever and contort them however it needs to be in his favor.
What do you think about what he just said in terms of, like, in the Bond movies, James Bond exploited the women, and that's what I'm here to do. What do you feel about that?
Do you think James Bond or the movie, the 007 movie, should get banned because James Bond exploits women in there just like Andrew Tate does?
Oh, you know, they canceled Mr. Rogers on another note.
Mr. Rogers?
Yeah, they canceled Mr. Rogers, or post-cancel, because of something he said.
Wait, who's Mr. Rogers again?
Mr. Rogers' neighborhood.
Take off his shoes.
Will you be my neighbor?
Yeah.
I thought he was dead.
Yeah, no, they canceled him in death.
Wait, no. They canceled him in death. What happened? I missed that.
Mr. Rogers said something about, there was a song on one of the episodes, I think it was, where he was singing about boys will grow up to be men and women, little girls will grow up to be women. And he was basically playing to the gender roles or whatever the case may be. And, you know, we don't subscribe to gender roles anymore in 2023. And so, Yeah, so they you know they lumped that in. They lumped a bunch of other stuff that was, you know. So Mr. Rogers was canceled. He's rolling over in his grave.
But he's dead, bro. Like
he's rolling over in his grave, bro.
Oh man,
he's canceled. Listen, canceling knows no bounds. Dead or not, you will be canceled, bro.
That's
just
crazy.
You have to follow the agenda. Blue hair, pussy power.
Yeah, romantically involving yourself with a woman and then making money off of her.
Strike that from the evidence. I'm sorry.
Firstly, I would call the webcam industry far closer to psychology than sex. The webcam industry has prevented more male suicide than any group of therapists, any charity ever would. Right?
Is that true? How can you measure that?
Well, it's not about measuring; it's about my personal experience.
One of the
let me just clear my mind about something, right? So he's talking about the lover boy method, you know, pretending like you love a woman or something like that, and then making money off them through a sex adjacent industry. And I guess they're saying the webcam industry is sex adjacent. And so is OnlyFans sex adjacent?
And OnlyFans just came into like existence now, though.
Well, right? It doesn't matter, but it's happening right now. And if it's a sex adjacent business, why are they allowing it to continue? And not only that, if I'm not mistaken, you have places like Amsterdam, you have places like Nevada, where brothels are legal. So let me get this straight.
You said brothels are not illegal, you meant, right?
No, they are. No, they're not illegal. I'm sorry, you're right. Yeah, brothels are not illegal. They are legal. That's what I said. I think. Well, that's what I hope I said. They are legal, okay. Right? So you're telling me you got all this smoke for this one guy, right? But you're not going protesting Nevada for having brothels or Amsterdam for having brothels, right? Like, what is so special about Andrew Tate, where him doing what he does, the way he does it, mostly entertainment, that is so different than what's happening on the Bond movies, what's happening in the Nevada brothels, or what's happening in the Amsterdam brothels, that you don't fight those other industries with the same rigor?
Because those guys, that industry does not have a face who resonated with young men. There was Kevin Samuels, right? Kevin Samuels was, you know, he opened up the floodgates, because now if you go online, there's like a whole, they call it the manosphere.
Now they've had that before Kevin. Blew it up, but they had
put it on the map. He put it on the map.
Alpha Male Strategies, O'Shea Duke Jackson. I mean, you have a slew, and they were cooking. So they trained Kevin Samuels coming on board, but Kevin Samuels outdid them. Yeah, outdid them. You know, but he was just working. You know.
But here's the thing. I brought that up to say this, right? So my point is, Kevin Samuels was somebody who put it on a platform and put it on the stage. It existed before him, and it will exist after him. However, he brought attention because he was such a divisive character. The person Kevin Samuels, he was very divisive. Either you loved him or you hated him. There was no gray area, and Andrew Tate's the same kind of way. It's like there aren't anybody who's indifferent about Andrew Tate. Everybody has an opinion on Andrew Tate. It's rare that you find someone who's indifferent. So the thing about it is, the brothels don't have that face that resonated. So what Andrew Tate did different from Kevin Samuels is that Kevin Samuels resonated with black men. He resonated with professional men. He resonated with a group of men that was maybe a little later in terms of their age. You know what I mean? Whereas Andrew Tate, his reach is a little bit younger. You know what I mean? His reach. So the problem that society has is that if you're trying to control a society, how do you get control of the society? You get control of the men. If there's going to be an uprising, they're going to stand up against the government. It ain't going to be the women doing it. It's going to be the men. If there's going to be a war that breaks out, it ain't going to be the women fighting. It's going to be the men. So if you punk the men and you sissify the men and you make them, you know, you can cry all you want and this and that, and they're not actually, you know, they're not actually stepping into their masculinity because they feel like that's not the way to be. That's the easiest way to gain control of a society. Take away their men. I mean, it's a clear agenda, bro. It's nobody's hiding it. It's hidden in plain sight. It's just people are too stupid to see it. It's just like, and it's like, the funny thing about it is the number one perpetuator of this agenda, the feminist woman, and God bless them. I love women, but you know, this is all going to play out in 20, 30 years, bro. This is all going to play out. This is all going to play out. And, you know, we'll see the effects of feminism on the next generation. And you know, I'm all for female empowerment. I'm all for equality in terms of like, you know, if you put in the work, then you get what you deserve. You know, if you're putting in the same amount of hours you're putting in the work, then absolutely. You get the same pay. If you're the WNBA and you putting up the same numbers as far as the arenas being filled, then you get the same pay. If you don't pull up the same numbers as far as your arenas getting filled, then you get your equal share. I don't see. I mean, this is what equality is supposed to be, but it seems like equality is more towards like, you know, it's been misconstrued to make men feel inferior, and that's the part that I don't like. I'm not a woman basher. I love women. I mean, I have a daughter myself that I'm raising. But the thing about it is, I'm not understanding why it has to be at the detriment of men that, you know, the rise of femininity has to, you know, be at the detriment of masculine men. That's the part that I don't get.
All right, let's continue a bit more of the video.
I have to change what you just said. I have to at least challenge you on it. Nobody's concerned by anything that happened 10 years ago when a bunch of girls got rich. There's not a single female complaining.
Do you think there's not a single female complaining?
Have you seen one? Tell me.
Andrew says no woman has complained about him personally. He won't let us speak to the women who work for him, so for now it's difficult to verify this claim. But I have spoken to many women who complain about the effect Andrew's rhetoric is having on their lives.
Oh,
From
it's
harassment.
not the same thing, buddy.
He was talking to Harold.
was radicalized by Andrew Tate to the point of threatening to release revenge porn unless I took back what I said on social media against his sexist, misogynistic views.
It's like a virus, the things that he's spreading. The scariest thing is, I have no idea if the next guy I meet could be an Andrew Tate fan.
As a teacher, it's definitely worrisome. There are boys who look up to him, especially those that may be vulnerable and they're sort of going to go into the real world carrying those violent views with them.
Violent views.
There's a way to think that it's okay to say horrible things like women are men's property and they get to do what they want with them. Makes me really disappointed in my generation.
Andrew's views represent a new era in modern misogyny, where you can now not only talk openly about subjugating and objectifying women, but doing so actually garners millions of committed fans.
Time out. Pause that. So objectifying women, that's another thing, right?
Subjugating and objectifying women. Don't forget the subjugating.
So yeah, exactly. So let me get this straight. How does a man objectify a woman? So like when we got these IG models, IG baddies, what else? OnlyFans stars. So we're supposed to treat them like queens and princesses, even though they half-ass naked on the internet. So it's okay to if they're you know, if they got the ass out all on IG, it's female empowerment, and yeah, you go, girl. But the second that a man says, "Oh yeah, damn, that looks good," I'm objectifying. So you're allowed to show all your ass. I just can't comment on it. I just can't say anything because then at that point I'm objectifying. Is that what it is? Is that am I correct?
So to your point, bro. The other day when we were listening to Candace Owens, right? One of the things that she said, and these are Candace Owens' words, and I'm paraphrasing: sex is the biggest weapon or most powerful weapon women have, and they wield it at their whenever they want, however they want, right? And so it's not uncommon to hear the phrase, particularly in sales, that sex sells, which is why when you look at marketing of any type, I mean, they market cigars and they have a woman in a bikini. And I'm like, what does this woman in a bikini have to do with the cigar? Nothing, but I can't stop watching at this ad, right? So it's not something that is not known, right? And so to my point earlier, right? If they're talking about Andrew Tate subjugating and objectifying women, where are they? When are they going to go to the modeling industry or the advertising industry and tell them, hey, stop objectifying and subjugating these women so men can buy your products? You know, like it's a double standard, it's a double-edged sword, man. It's crazy.
It's a double standard, and it's reached the point where there's no lines. So you heard of the backlash that Balenciaga got a month back, right? Because they're now, you know, posing minors in like BDSM style.
And
like
you can't,
you know,
and you shouldn't do that, man. You got to protect the babies, right?
That's my point. My point. So it's like, at what point is that not objectifying? Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, so we picking and choosing, we throw these words out and we pick and choose when to enforce them. That's basically what I see what's going on. We pick and choose and who we're going to enforce it against. It's like, if it works, it's like, you know, the double standard work. If it's in your favor, then we'll keep quiet about it. But if it's something that, you know, that and a man can't agree with it, or a man just has to stand there and shut his mouth and be indifferent. He can't say anything.
The level that you can operate at and actually achieve.
The most hardcore of them have traveled here to Romania to join the War Room.
The War Room is a fraternity. We're a brotherhood which is designed to inspire the best from our brothers. They have to have the mentality and the pedigree to survive. There's tests, and if you do them, you can stay inside.
At the top of Andrew's fraternity is a small group of...
That does look kind of like creepy though, like to Andrew Tate. Now, like I said, like I don't think there's anything wrong with having a fraternity of men, you know, and it's nothing wrong with cheering, you know, having a cheers to a particular person, particularly if he's a leader of that group. But just the way they showed that imagery made it look like a cult, right? Like they are blindly following Andrew Tate. I don't think that they are, because one of the things that Andrew Tate talks about a lot is thinking for yourself, making your own decision, right? Be a man, right? Take leadership, take ownership, right? He's not saying blindly follow me wherever I go and do whatever I do. He says, follow all laws, make the system work for you, and be a man, you know, have your own mind, right? So it is what it is, though.
And on another thing, right? To add to that, it kills me. It kills me because it's like there are men walking out or walking around like this in the real world, right? You know, highly successful men, you know, some attractive, some not attractive. I'm not judging men, pause. But I'm just saying, to make my point, is it's funny how you know, society now says, you know, men should be more open and it's okay to cry and share your feelings, and you don't have to be, you know, so guarded all the time. And you know what the results say? Women don't fucking date those dudes. Those dudes get cheated on.
You know, the world is populated by 30% of men.
Yo, those
Because
dudes get cheated on.
70% of men don't get no buns and they don't have no children.
Yeah. It's like, bro. And so it's like you telling the man, you telling the young boy to grow up and be this dude that in 10, 15 years, you're not going to want to fuck him. So what's the point? It's like, yo, what you telling him to be the same bitch dude that you're going to put in the friend zone. And then you're going to go get your cheeks bust by the real dude. All right, that's my tangent.
I'm proud of you, Walker. You cut yourself off before I put the thing on.
This inner circle. After that testing exchange for training, Andrew liked to watch him train. No, but it turns out he's planning on teaching me a lesson.
Listen, this guy is a world kickboxing champion. If you want to teach him a lesson, he got a lot more than what he got.
I meet and get punched in the face by the inner circle of the war room. In the world Andrew is creating, not only are women to be subjugated, sorry, that almost felt like I got knocked out, but men defined by their capacity to inflict violence. Okay, tap out.
You stopped. You were like, all right.
Yo, the spins on this stuff is crazy.
You know what's crazy?
He's a spin master, bro.
Do you know why America is feared and respected in the world?
Because we got guns, we got an army.
Not just that, exactly what he said. Because their propensity to inflict violence. The people don't fear America because America's land of honey and it's land of the free, home of the brave. Countries fear America because they're like,
we know what bomb your ass.
These motherfuckers dropped a bomb on Hiroshima.
Bomb your ass. Keep talking shit.
right. Like 50 Cent said. Wait, what he said when 50 Cent said his song? Keep thinking I'm pussy. Yeah. Keep coming. See what's gonna happen to you. Like, and so
hold on. Roland, we've been going on too much, man. I feel like there's not enough Harold interjection in this conversation, man. What's on your mind, bro?
There's nothing. I'm just watching. I'm still trying to hear his story. We're only 18 minutes into it.
Oh yeah, it is 18 minutes into it.
All right, let it play out for a good. Let it rock out, Roland. Let it rock out.
I bet you walking breaks in like 2 minutes.
No, that's your reaction. I need to fight back. Yeah, does that make sense?
Yeah, she.
The War Room is a network. We have 10 meetings a year. The next one's going to be in the mountains of Transylvania. You could do it, but I don't know, my friend, if you're prepared.
We've left Bucharest, so we're driving into the Carpathian Mountains to meet Andrew and his inner circle for the War Room, which is going to involve something called the Test. I've made it into Andrew Tate's War Room, where 100 of his biggest fans have flown in from all across the world, each paying $5,000 to have their manhood tested by the one they refer to as Commander. None of us know what he has in store.
I welcome you all to the test. There is a cage fighting event, and every single one of you has been paired against a professional fighter. You will fight in the cage on national television, and it's a real fight. There are two paths you can go down. You can agree to fight, or you can decide that it's not for you. You have 1 hour to think and make a decision.
That's going to be a hard no from me. Maybe I'll do a yes.
You know, I respect though. He actually did fight. I respect that. He goes all out for his story.
There's no training before this fight. If you've been walking through life,
spoiler alert.
Train, is that your problem or my problem?
I couldn't help overhearing some disagreement within the war.
Can I stop you, wink, wink? What are you doing? What's
It's gonna be fine. We have an ambulance, we have medics. Nobody gets knocked down. Don't worry about it.
At the center of it all was Andrew's right-hand man, Iggy Semmelweis.
Here I will share with you my secrets.
He's the self-proclaimed greatest hypnotist in the world.
You will learn the power of hypnosis.
And seemed to have an agenda that expanded beyond the Warrum itself into something larger and darker.
Would you let yourself be hypnotized?
Sons will marry their daughters. Your daughters will marry their sons.
I don't think I would feel comfortable with that.
Enjoying those juicy steaks, that finer scotch, those.
You speak to us, but it's clear that he has a big role to play in whatever the Warrum's real agenda is.
This is the war room of Andrew Tate.
Welcome to the test.
Now it is decision time. You are getting in the cage to fight a professional fighter who is trained to hurt you. Anyone who is fighting, please stand up. Anyone who is not fighting, you can stay seated, and we will begin the other program.
Just like that, a third of the room decides to get beaten up for Andrew Tate.
What happens to the people who said no?
Decides to get beaten up for Andrew Tate. Is that what they're doing?
Literally, they paid $5,000. They're gonna listen. To
To be more ready for opportunities. That's where honor comes from, right? From victory.
One of the men who said no agrees to speak to us as long as we hide his face.
Why did you say no?
I have been in the ring before, but just sparring. But I was like professionals and Russians, like they guys are serious. I was just too scared. So then afterwards, I felt bad about myself, and I was angry.
I told my kickboxing coach he's gonna get 5 fights out of me.
Andrew Tate has obviously said a lot of kind of controversial things online. What do you think about that?
A lot of things are very controversial, but I think the bottom of his message is a very, very positive one. Because I'm not tough on myself. Nobody else will be. Nobody really cares about me if I don't care about me, right? That's what I learned from Andrew Tate.
People who decided this morning and people who decided at a later date here.
We have a chaperone following us. We've been told that we're not allowed to talk to anyone. What about in passing, asking people like, what single question?
Let me run this by Tate before we film. No,
okay. All right. Would you be up for that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our chaperone vets who we speak to and tries to heavily control our questions. What do you
show
do?
that you're not some sort of right-wing extremist.
Why did you join the war?
I don't want to be stagnant. I need to grow. It's just a fundamental shift in my mindset. What I think could be bad is always good. Before the war room, I used to think, why is this happening to me? Now, what is this trying to like teach me?
About Andrew Tate specifically, the things he says online, things that get him negative publicity. Yeah. What do you think about those things?
I think speaking the truth.
Really?
Yeah.
Interviewing under the chaperone's supervision is proving restrictive. Yeah?
No alpha craziness. He's a bit of he's an animal, this one.
So we can't speak to anyone? Okay. Who is this mysterious chaperone anyway? Hey, man.
Matt, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? I was wondering if we could have a little chat. Yeah? Like most Warrum leaders, he has a sports car. Do you want to do the interview in here?
Yeah, I don't see why not, man.
And like most people with the sports car, he's keen to show it off. So, what do they call you?
In these circles, sartorial or the sartorial shooter. I'm one of the guys who manages organizational risk and security for the war room. So anyone, any criminal activity, maybe they're showing signs of being racist or sexist or any of these sorts of things, they're out straight away. We will not tolerate that.
And so how do you reconcile that with some of the things that Andrew, for example, says online?
Any claims of misogyny or the fact that he's, spreading hateful words, that's not the reality of who he is, and that's not what the war room stands for, and that's not what he stands for. There are many clips of him out there saying, I'm not a misogynist. I provide for my women. I would stand up for my women in a violent situation.
What do you think his detractors would say about, for example, what you just said, the phrase, my women? Do you think that they would consider that to be misogynist?
the phrase "my woman" for me ties into the very traditional values that we have.
Andrew's
Don't you call your wife my wife?
talking a lot about his multiple girlfriends. How does that tie into this idea of a traditional relationship?
Men at certain levels can provide for multiple women. I mean, even we can go back 100 years ago, kings, wealthy men, they would support multiple families. How is that a bad thing? It's only very recently that men and women have been competing in pretty much in masculine realms, in work, in career. Not that long ago, and indeed in many cultures around the world, women still have the traditional gender norms. And we believe in the war, and that's what leads to happiness.
Rather than a career or like you have.
Career don't give a damn about you when you dead. Your kids, what's going to care about you?
I'm not trying to do the things that traditionally men used to do.
What about a situation where, this has just popped into my head, where I want my girlfriend, who I love, to be a kept woman, but she doesn't. She wants to pursue a career or something like that.
Then find a different woman. Very simple.
The core belief driving the war room and what men here are seeking is a misogynist fantasy of a time when they were kings and women were subjugated. It's at the heart of what Andrew Tate is selling. Just look at the tweets of Iggy Semmelweis, his second in command. My webcam girl is home 100% of the time, has no time nor interest in going out. She sleeps, cooks, cleans, does her shows, gives me all the money, gets railed by me and our girlfriends, then smiles, thanks me, and goes and does it again tomorrow. Welcome to the war room.
This is the war room of Andrew Tate.
Wait. Go ahead, Harold.
What you
I'm
laughing
serious. I'm like, no, I wanted to hear how you guys were defending that one because whatever.
Defending what? Defending what?
All I gotta do is watch.
Defending what? What are you asking defense of?
What points are you
Apparently,
contesting?
whatever the messaging was, it gravitates and attracts his audience. Like it just is.
What are you contending? What are you saying that we should be defending or be defending?
No, I'm okay. So his girl or his woman's at home on the webcam doing whatever womanly duties he perceives it to be, whatever, right? Keeping the house traditional, whatever things they were talking about, and makes money from the webcam to give to him. Welcome to the war room. It was literally everything we've been watching the whole time. That you guys every other second are like, well, that's not a bad thing. Well, what's wrong with this? What's wrong with that?
But so just clarify for me, what are you saying is wrong with what? And this is Iggy. This is not Andrew, but this is Iggy saying how his lifestyle with his woman. What is your, I guess, beef with that?
It's Iggy messaging, not summarizing everything we've been seeing for the past 26
right,
minutes.
But what is wrong with what do you think is wrong with what he's saying is what I'm asking you.
I'm saying it would just gravitate a certain type of audience, and that's what's happening here.
Still, you're not pointing out the problem.
Yeah, right. Right.
What is the problem with
attracting? I see if there's the audience that's attracted to that, they're attracted to that. But
there's an audience that's attracted to anything, bro. There's an audience for everything. Everything. Like there's all types of movies. They got an audience for them. Like what are you saying?
I said what I said.
Oh, put some bass in your voice. Put some bass in your voice. Oh shit!
I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. There's an audience for it, so there's an audience for everything.
Yeah, you're right.
He told you, bitch.
Let me continue watching then. Let's see. Let's go.
Oh, man.
Nah, well, hold on though. I just want. I have a question to ask. And I already know.
You have a serious question, or you just
no? It's a serious question related to conversation, related to what we're talking about, related to what Iggy said. If given the choice, Harold, do women, if they have the option, right, where money is not an issue, everything is paid for. They want for nothing. Do most women prefer to work or not, in your opinion? If a man is going to provide everything and not just the bare basics, let's say he's doing well enough to provide a luxury lifestyle. Do you think in that scenario, most women, and I'm not talking about the outliers, most women, would they prefer to keep working or would they prefer to stay home, in your opinion?
I mean, you said luxurious lifestyle and not considering the outliers, most women would probably stay home and live whatever life they could live.
So what was wrong with what Iggy said again?
So what was wrong with what Iggy said again? All right, yeah, the webcam. So you got her making her money from a webcam industry, OnlyFans, whatever it is nowadays, and now she dishes it over to you because you got given her that luxurious lifestyle. Really, this is what we're talking about.
So okay, but
this is what we're talking about.
Is she complaining? I don't hear her complaining.
Okay, so
she chose that man, right?
The question you asked is not in alignment with how you shifted it off to. Oh, we lost Roland.
Oh no, we lost Roland.
Oh, it still records. Okay.
It still records, but we don't got no video or no backdrop. What happened here?
I mean, he's gonna come. He's gonna come back. But that question you asked, and it's just my opinion, right? The question you asked does not lead straight into the Iggy thing. It doesn't.
No. The reason why I'm saying that is because, it's so funny to me that women, a lot of women, women who are professionals, high earners, and maybe have their own business or whatever the case may be.
And that's my audience. So
So those women I could understand, but you got to understand, those women are the minority, my man. The average woman in America makes no more than $35,000 a year.
So I'm okay. So I am surrounded by professional women. I mean, all of them would be the opposite of exactly what the answer of what we were just talking about. They will 100% be the opposite. They want to make their own money. They definitely will not be relying on anyone.
That's probably the top 10% of women.
But hence why I answered
the other 80-90% are not those women.
Hence why I answered your question the way I did. Because there's even the women in Silicon Valley who are looking for the next Mark Zuckerberg. So they're even pursuing the man, so a particular type of man, so they can have a lifestyle to their standard. So I answered it correctly. However, in this, I don't think that's the Iggy analogy, because if she's dishing off 100% of her proceeds or whatever her earnings is, that's a form of control as well. So now he has all the money in the household, and now he's deciding how it gets, she wants the handbag, he could say his yes or no.
But if you're a housewife, then you're not making any money either.
In the instance where you talked about Iggy, she literally is making her money, or her stash of her money, and she is literally giving him 100%. He's not saying, oh, you know what, give me 25% for bills. He's not saying that. He's literally saying, and some of these messaging that we're getting is, give me 100% control of all of the decisions.
So peep this, right? 50 Cent once said that when he used to live with his grandmother, he used to see his grandfather come home and give her his whole check. And he's like, the reason why his grandfather did that was because since she handled the finance and she knew what she had, so she didn't have to worry about what they didn't have, because she knew that she had all that they gave. Do you have a problem with a man coming home and giving his wife the whole check? Wait, no. Do you have a problem with a husband coming home and giving the wife the whole check?
That's a traditional thing.
No. Do you have a husband coming home and giving the wife a whole check.
I'll list what my issue is. If she's making her money, she should
Bro.
not be. And he's no. Because an
answer my
example you were
question,
given is
Answer
he's
my
supposed to
question.
be the provider. Why
Answer
is
my
he saying
question,
I'm the
please.
provider, but yet
And-
give me your money?
Answer my question, please. Do you have a problem with the
That's-
husband coming home and giving his wife the whole check? It's a simple answer. Yes, or you have a problem with it, or no, you don't have a problem with it.
So that's not a good example because not a good example. Really, every single man is coming home and giving his wife the check.
No
Really?
one said about every single man. We're talking about Iggy. We're talking about Iggy and his wife or girlfriend, and we're talking about 50 Cent and his grandmother and his grandfather. Right? So we're talking about two. We're talking about two. We're talking about two people. We're not talking about everybody. I'm asking you. Do you have a problem?
I'll answer your question, and you can try to bring it into this. No, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, so if you don't think there's anything wrong with that, why
a grandfather to be giving the grandmother the check because she was handling specifically the finances?
So then what's the problem with Iggy handling the finances in his household?
Hence why, again, the analogy you gave.
What's the problem with Iggy? The question is, what's the problem with Iggy handling the
messaging in the war room says it all. It's like the man is gonna be in control, and if she makes money, you deserve that money. It's the messaging in which Andrew Tate did. He had women making money, and he decided to rob them and say it was for tax.
Rob them.
He sound like the Vice guy. He sound like the Vice. He sound like the Vice documentary.
You did say no. I'm gonna say Rob. You said he said it's a 50-50 arrangement. And then he said, oh, yeah, by the way, I got to take an extra 20% for tax. You literally said it. That is robbing them. I don't know how to say it nicer.
Bro, he was doing that video as a training. And listen, I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he didn't do it, right? I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he did it. I don't know if he didn't do it, right? What I will say is that if he misrepresented the amount of money that he was giving to them and he said he was going to do something, he didn't do it, that's wrong. You shouldn't do that, right?
Okay.
So that is what it is. Whether it's girls on webcam, whether it's a business, do what you say you're going to do, period, right? And if you're not going to do it, then don't say you're going to do it. So
I said that. I said that.
You're not going to get an argument from me about that. However, if it's okay for a man to come home and give his wife the whole check, it should be okay if a woman gives her man the whole check. Now, if he's forcing her to do so and she doesn't want to, that's a problem. If he's beating her to do so and she doesn't want to, that's a problem. But if that's the dynamic one thing that I've always said is that I never judge a person's relationship because I don't understand or know the inner workings of their household or that relationship. If a man want to stay home and be daddy daycare and the woman wants to go be breadwinner and that works for them, I have no qualms about it. It's none of my business, right? If she's gonna pay all the overhead, most women who want men at a certain level won't accept that, right? But if that's their dynamic, that's their dynamic. That's none of my business, right? The same thing is true on the other end, right? If a man has a super submissive wife that cooks and cleans and that's their dynamic. That's none of my business. As long as they have an agreement that they're good with, that's all that matters to me, right? And so if Iggy has an agreement with his girl that they're gonna have that he can have multiple chicks and she doesn't, right? And she don't have multiple dudes. She does her work on webcam. She gives them money. If that's their dynamic, as long as they're happy, who cares? It's none of your business.
So
it's none of mine.
We know everything's about messaging. We started off talking about rappers and them rapping about their cars and they had to rent the car for the day, right? So we talked about it's all about the messaging. Everything in this, we even talked about when Andrew Tate said it was supposed to be 50-50 and he found a way to cheat them out of the extra money. We talked about that. So if the messaging is this is the controller, the leader, the alpha, whoever he is to them, and he's bragging about how he robbed them, or how he cheated them. And then now we have the second command, like, oh yeah, by the way, my woman's at home doing this while I'm out with another woman, blah, blah, blah. And oh yeah, by the way, come to the war room. Like if you're reading this and you're hearing Andrew Tate's messaging and you're seeing his messaging, you already initially got gravitated. If you're looking at his number 2 and that's the messaging, and then he says, oh yeah, P.S., join the war room, you literally have a whole group of people gravitating specifically for this purpose. So
okay, what's the problem?
You could say a happy home is a happy home. If they have whatever messaging, they have whatever. You could say whatever. You could say whatever you want to say on regarding that. But the messaging is consistent, whether it's pimp hoes degree, whether it's turned into hustle, whether it turned into war room. I don't care.
What's,
the same
what's,
thing
what's the
happening
messaging?
in this, the same
What's
thing
the
happening
messaging?
in per box, and he's just moving, and he's like, oh yeah, this group pays $49. The same messaging pays $5,000. The same messaging is going to pay $10,000 to let people piss on them. Whatever. Like, I don't. What are you talking?
All right, go ahead.
So other than him saying that he told the girls that it was 50-50, and then he took an extra 20% that he says going to pay taxes, and he didn't. He kept it, which I said that was wrong, right? Other than that, what problem do you have with the messaging? Because we both agree that you shouldn't do that. That's wrong. Okay.
So
everything else, what's the problem? Everything else, what's the problem?
Okay, I mean, all I'm watching, going off of the videos, allegations of abuse, allegations of beating, allegations. I mean, it's all allegations, but I'm only learning from this. I'm like trying to watch to get to the end so I could be more informed, but I'm only speaking from what I've been seeing.
Okay, so what we're saying is, if I'm understanding you correctly, you have an issue with Iggy's messaging saying that his girl does webcam, gives him the money, and they have other girls that they are entertained by. You have a problem with that because Andrew Tate is accused of abuse and accused of rape, because Iggy's not. He's not being accused of that. Andrew Tate is, right? So whether there's evidence or whether there's no evidence, what Iggy is talking about or what he's doing, he hasn't been accused of anything, right? So what is your problem with that? Because I think it sounds like we're conflating two different areas. You're saying, okay, because Andrew Tate has this message, and because Iggy is purporting this message, and because Andrew Tate has been accused of something, then it's all bad, right? And I'm trying to get to the crux of what your issue is, because you're saying the messaging. Okay, what does that mean?
So Andrew Tate also is big on his affiliate marketing, where he just can put the message out there and all of his constituents can basically spread it. So I'm not going to look at Iggy as if he is any different from Andrew Tate, because he's an extension from him, right? So he's an extension of him. Andrew Tate's just known for putting whatever messaging out there, however anyone wants to go. Someone could be a far right, someone could be a far left. It doesn't matter, as long as, like, it just doesn't matter to Andrew Tate, because it's like, all right, my message is getting out there. What I do want to do is for you to press play so I can hear more. That's
well, he likes the Vice he likes the Vice hit piece documentary.
Members and I are bused to the fight location. The world begins to talk about Andrew Tate with a new intensity.
He is a 35-year-old influencer who's been accused of spreading rape
openly condones and celebrates violence against women.
Hitting women. Kids are acting like the things that he's saying is like revolutionary.
11-year-old boys.
Please stop looking up to Andrew Tate. He is a bad guy.
With the PR crisis going on, Andrew's team are eager for some good press. So they send an extra friendly chaperone to sell me on the benefits of the war room experience.
I'm Alpha Wolf.
Okay.
My role is to be Alpha Wolf.
Okay, fair enough.
Life is all about how you deal with the pain and how you move forward. You're going to learn a lot about yourself as a man. So take it, make the best out of it, and grow as a man and be tough.
All of the men in this room seem to be taking this incredibly seriously.
What's your goal for the fight?
Of course I'm going to try to win.
I see a lot of contenders right there who had the guts to come right here in the cage. If any one of them win one fight, is going to win all their money, all their girls.
This is the culmination of Andrew Tate's pressure cooker of male insecurity.
Pressure cooker of male insecurity.
Platform flying around a private jet, 27 cars, living this lifestyle. Most of you are not too stupid to become rich.
Are you ready?
But while they come forward to gratefully take the beatings they've paid thousands of dollars for, Andrew Tate's future on social media is hanging in the balance, and the public backlash is spreading. I'm desperate to ask him about all of this, but first I have to get through this ridiculous situation that I've found myself in.
All right, let's go.
Oh, this is about to be really, really bad. Oh, nah. He just looked like he about to get his ass whooped. He just got that look. Oh, God. Oh, God.
Whatever's going on behind the scenes, watching me get chased around puts a smile on Andrew's face.
Oh, damn.
It's hard getting in the ring, bro.
Those who went all in,
I could imagine.
Badly. One man was knocked out and taken away on a stretcher. The inner circle had put these men through collective hardship and recreated them in Andrew Tate's image. Fighters.
Come here, guys. Come up to the front. He broke his hand on your head, but you're fine. So you win.
But they also joined a movement that was widely accused of normalizing sexism in rape culture. While the men who chose to fight are paraded in front of the crowd, Andrew's team shamed those who refused.
Hold on to it. Don't let it go.
So anyone who fought, you can put your hand up, how the experience was, how it's going to change your life, and if you have anything to say to the people who didn't fight.
I don't think I have any word of advice for the people that didn't do it, except that you should have probably.
You want to check on me. I'm thinking, I would train because I feel like I would, right? So
yeah,
that's what I want to do. Right now, I have new mountains to climb, and I'd love to get back here a year from now and go to the gym of the guy who beat the shit out of me.
Didn't it feel like a movie the last few days? I feel like that's a great metaphor for life. We shouldn't be slaves. We shouldn't be working 9-to-5 jobs. We should actually make our lives into, I guess, a movie.
That's not real life, though. Everyone's not going to have a movie lifestyle, right? You need the 95ers.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but there's an opportunity for evolution out of the 9-to-5 mindset.
All the men here paid $5,000.
Nah, you need the 95ers. Not everyone's going to be a millionaire.
But you need some of them. I mean, look at COVID. COVID helped a lot of people move out of the mentality of 9-to-5. Like, I should do more. I should have a side business. So I'm just saying the mindset of the 9-to-5 can evolve beyond that.
We're told not to film these celebrations that conclude the evening, and it's not clear exactly what goes on. But once outside the lobby, we could clearly see a room containing naked women being photographed.
So?
With Andrew's team increasingly conscious of negative publicity, tonight could be the last chance to interview him.
Do you consider the possibility that some of the things that you've said, which have been viewed 11 billion times, may lead to an attitude towards women that could be harmful?
I accept that across all of that viewership, I have perhaps, possibly, maybe said one thing, or maybe two, that has upset a large range of people.
Wouldn't it make sense to just apologize for some of the things you said, acknowledge that they have caused harm, and say that you won't say those things again?
No, and I'll tell you why. I'm not going to apologize for the edits of other people.
Why they always want you to apologize, capitulate? They want control.
That's what this is all about. It's about control.
Portray your negative light, also help the algorithm to make you become more famous and more viral?
I'm not an expert on algorithms for social media platforms. I do not have most of them installed on my phone. I cannot control what a 15-year-old Singaporean decides to do when he chops me up and calls me names. I can't control that, and I wouldn't try to.
There has been a lot of bad press about you. That's made some nervousness within members of the war. And why is that?
Well, obviously, when people are going to continue to lie and continue to do very, very shallow, very, very fictitious investigations, people are going to lose faith in you. The media has lost all credibility because you do not try and portray the truth anymore.
One thing that stands in the way of truth, for example, is when we often do documentaries, we have full access to speak to anyone we want. But in this documentary, we've been very closely watched by the sartorial shooter, Alpha Wolf, picking who we can speak to, you know, monitoring the interview. What is it that you're worried that we're going to find out?
These questions are so low. This is low. It's low. We let you in. We tried to take care of you. And you're in here and just attacking us for 3 hours, bro.
The world is asking these questions, and the viewers will be asking these questions.
It's a consistent leading question, a consistent narrative. Where's the question about the good he's doing for men? Well, there's a very clear narrative. I need to leave.
In the days afterwards, Tate is banned from YouTube.
Yeah, they called him out on his bullshit.
To the protest of his fans.
So, hold on. Let's stop for a second.
Warfare against the West.
So here's the thing. I agree that Andrew Tate says a lot of shit that's just outlandish, and some of the shit is just like, okay, bro, like he goes DEFCON 3 and says unnecessary shit. Like, to make a minute small point, he'll say a lot of unnecessary shit, and the unnecessary shit will be the stuff that gets blown up, and it'll dilute the actual point that he's making. And so the thing about it is, right, I've seen this man sit in interviews for an hour, right? Say a lot of shit that has turned the whole room. People come in with those preconceived notions about what he is, and they come in terms of like who they feel like he is and everything like that. And he completely upends the room and switches everybody to the point where they're like, oh, he's not that bad of a guy. I thought he'd be different. Like, it happens every time with this dude, right? And the thing about it is, the reason why is because when he does sit down and has a calm conversation, the dude makes sense. But the way that they chop it up, even in this particular thing, it's like, they're trying to make it as if he's some psychopath cult leader. But it's a narrative, right? And so they don't mention anything. So like there was a part where they were interviewing the dudes before the fight. Well, a lot of the dudes were saying positive stuff. A lot of the dudes were saying like, Andrew Tate taught me to, kind of stand up, and nobody's going to care for you as a man. You're going to care for yourself. You got to, lift yourself up. That's a lot of his message that's the baseline of it, is turn yourself into a top G, he calls it. Turn yourself into that man that's irresistible to all women. Make yourself rich. Make yourself a valuable, successful man. For you to be a successful man, you're valuable to the world. You're providing some value to the world. And the compensation for that value that you bring to the world is obviously the riches and the things that they get. Now, who is attracted to those riches? It happens to be the opposite sex, it happens to be women. So all of this has a baseline, but it's just that the things that he says to sensationalize, they get highlighted more. And he says a lot of the shit, so he provides a lot of it. He provides a lot of fodder.
For a moment, it seems the deplatforming has worked. But then, he reappears on Instagram with an emoji covering his face.
You're lost. You understand you're living inside of a mechanism which is designed to control you. You don't.
He moves to Dubai, converts to Islam, sets up a new bank entirely owned by him.
Remember when we talked about starting the bank walking?
Hustlers University as
we did.
In the first month after being deplatformed, He made $11 million and got 250 million views on TikTok alone.
And he doesn't have a TikTok
Months
account.
Later, Elon Musk reinstates his Twitter account and he gains 1 million followers in 24 hours.
Jesus Christ.
There's no charges at all against me. I have not hurt any women. No women are coming forward saying Andrew hit me. Zero.
Andrew maintains that he has never abused a woman. But when we get back from Romania, we finally managed to speak to some women from his past.
A big thing that upset me a lot was everyone saying it's a character, when I know it's not.
To suddenly see him pop up on TikTok just made me really angry. Because people don't know what he's done.
Uh-oh. That's not good. What is it that
began seeing Andrew in 2013. Due to fear of harassment from his fans, she is withholding her real name.
I always knew, even back in the day, there was always things said bad about him. But when I seen him again in 2013, I thought, oh, all these rumours about him are really false because he's actually been really lovely. The first time I went around his house, because before it was like maybe 3-4 times we've gone on dates, we started to make out on the bed. Out of the blue, he literally just stopped what he was doing and just laid back. He said, I'm just contemplating whether I should rape you or not. I promise you, within an instant, he changed. He just jumped straight on top of me, grabbed my throat, started suffocating me, strangling me. The more I didn't want to, it made him so much more aggressive to the point where he was pinning me down, hurting me. The things he was saying to me, he was like, who do you belong to? Who do you belong to? And the more I couldn't say it, the more he'd hurt me. So I couldn't see an escape. And at that point, I just gave up. And when it stopped, he went to the bathroom and acted as if it was normal. So I'm like, maybe I did what? Did I want it? Did I not? I definitely said to him, please don't. And he told me, shut the fuck up. Definitely got strangled. I definitely didn't want it. Did he think I wanted it? And you look back, the psychological warfare you have with yourself is like you couldn't even imagine. You wouldn't know, you wouldn't understand it unless you've been through it. Can't even say the damn word.
Have you since come to terms with the notion that that may not have been consensual, that may have been...
I know for a fact it wasn't consensual.
But it's hard to use the word.
Even though I know technically it's true, that did happen, that is what happened to me, I still don't like vocalizing it.
Amelia's method of coping with the alleged rapes was to...
So, you know, when I see something like this, it definitely, I mean, I have a daughter myself, right? So stuff like this definitely, especially to men, right, who have children, or just men in general who give a damn in the world, it definitely bothers you to hear that happened to someone, right? Or to her, or to anyone. But on the other end of the spectrum, whenever, one thing that I realized a long time ago is that you can't prove a negative, right? Once someone accuses you of something, there's no way you can prove it didn't happen. The only thing you can show if something else happened, possibly, if you have the evidence for it, but you can't prove something. You can't, like, there's no way for Andrew to prove that what she's saying didn't happen, right? Because she said it, right? Like, and so it's very hard to reconcile the two. And I think all accusations should be investigated 100%. I think that whether it's a man, whether it's a woman, whether it's a child, you should definitely look into it. But it's very, very hard to hear that and then you not have an ability to verify it. And I know, you know, these days it's believe all women. And I get that concept, but I also have a son, right? And it's like, I want to make sure that both my son and my daughter have a fair shake, right? If there is something that happens, whether it happens to my son or my daughter, I want them to be able to bring it to light, it get investigated, and whatever actions need to happen after the investigation happens. But I don't think it's right when you have a unilateral conversation where there's no way to validate what it is that's being said. When you hear her say, you know, I know I didn't want it. I don't want to say the word. Like for me, it's like, okay, do I know enough information to determine whether I understand what even occurred between him and her during that time? Was this a one-time event? Was it something that happened over a period of time? My understanding is that he lived with all his women. Did she live with him? Like I don't understand the dynamic. I don't understand what happened.
Where's the context?
Right. And so, but when you sit here and you look at it from her lens, though, that lens is very, very hurtful to her. And it paints a very bad picture that it's hard to reconcile.
From what? Look, and I know YouTube is very sensitive about that word, but that shouldn't be something that any woman is subjected to. It shouldn't be something that anybody in general, actually, man or woman, a woman or man, it shouldn't be a thing where if you are openly, disagreeing and not giving consent, that that someone, to me, that's like, that's the weakest thing that somebody can do is force themselves onto someone else, from a man's standpoint, but what I would like to understand is, again, like some of the things that you were saying, what were the dynamics? Like what led to that? What were the circumstances? But I don't know, I don't know enough about his character to say, is this something that is within the realm of his capability? I mean, I think that in any given situation, I don't, I don't put anything past anyone. So is it a possibility that these accusations can come out to be true? It's a possibility, but is it also on that same spectrum? Is it a possibility that that they can turn out to be false? That can also, two things can be true at the same time. I think that it wouldn't be the first time that someone was accused incorrectly, and it wouldn't be the first time where a powerful man, abused his power. But if they're saying that if this woman is saying back in 2013, I mean, he wasn't the media personality that he is now, 10 years ago. But if this woman is saying that this happened 10 years ago, whatever he used to get that upper hand, if that is the case, and if he did use that upper hand to openly violate someone's, privacy, then that should be dealt with. That should be dealt with. I mean, if this is something that has merit and it has actual, trail that can be substantiated, then if a crime was committed, then it should be handled accordingly.
Now, the interesting thing about that is that the case was dropped 4 years after they accused them of this back.
This from this same person
from yeah.
From this same. No, because this person here didn't reveal their identity, so we don't know if it's the same person.
No, but this happened back in England, and so it was her and another girl back in England who they had an issue with him, and they had accused him of rape and assault.
No, but I get what you're saying, but we cannot confirm that that's the same person. Remember, this person that's speaking on this particular interview.
It was two people. This girl and there's another girl that's going to speak. It was them two, and they're going to talk about it. That the police investigated it 4 years ago in England.
So they're going to say that.
Yeah.
So let me hear it.
Spoiler alert, Queen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You both got to speak on it though. Wait, you both got to speak on it.
I didn't know you want to speak on it.
Yeah. So it's interesting because she leads with there was already rumors about him, right? I mean, even in 2011, Big Brother, there was stuff going on, but the girl said that that's what they did, the kinky stuff. All right. But again, oftentimes people who live a certain lifestyle, I mean, it's not the first time a message is going to be said about them, right? So it's interesting how she led about rumors, and he's very persuasive or whatever. He could have won her over. Kenny here even said that a lot of interviews he starts off with people being like, I'm gonna hate this guy, and then he just makes you fall in love with him, right? So or wins them over, right? So it's interesting how this was led with that. And yeah, I match both of what you guys said regarding the
But isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? Because he also said even in one of these clips, don't put yourself in that situation is one of the things he preaches to women. So in that situation, if he quote unquote has rumors, then why would you even, and as a woman, if that's probably the worst rumor you can have about a guy, right? That's probably the worst thing you can say about a guy. So if you quote unquote, it's interesting that you pointed that out, Harold, heard the rumors, then what was still kind of egging you on to pursue this thing and see it through? I mean, wouldn't that be a red flag? I mean, we always talk about red flags. I don't know a bigger red flag than that.
So, I mean, I hear what you just did. I don't like what you just did. Rumors are not, I think you meet people and you decide, right? She decided, she thought he was a nice guy. He played the nice guy role however long he needed to do whatever he did. I'm not going to go along with nice guy. Well, okay, I'm not going to do she heard the rumors and yet she continued. That's not going to happen. So what did happen is what this video is talking about.
I wasn't trying to match share you, bro.
No. I heard you.
I wasn't trying to put
rumors or not. She did get in the situation where it went too far. He didn't want to hear the allegations is he didn't want to stop and he continued. So I heard you both say that's the worst thing that could ever happen, and no one would want a woman or anyone to ever be in that circumstance and situation. So gonna match you guys on your messaging on that.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I fucking loved how much you hated it. Turn me on. Are you seriously so offended I strangled you a little bit? You didn't fucking pass out. And all the women I've ever slept with, not a single one has ever bitched or complained like you are bitching and complaining now.
Every few months, Andrew would send me on a different
That was his
number.
rebuttal.
Just remind
No, that's him on her voicemail talking to her. Like, who rapes a girl and then calls her and leaves a message like that on the voicemail?
Hey, listen, man, you can't say that word on YouTube.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That's my fault.
Say grape.
That's what I said. Grape.
Okay.
It sounds very similar. The G was silent.
Okay.
Reminds me of how dangerous he was.
I thought I'd remind you of the caliber of man I am. I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet.
Scare tactics to make sure I wouldn't go anywhere, go to the police, wouldn't report, would always be under his control. It was always to remind me that he was there.
Wait. So did she say that he wouldn't let her go anywhere? So it sounds like to me, after 6 months. Okay, so it sounds like, if I'm understanding it correctly, if I'm just piecing things together, and I don't know nothing of what I'm talking about, I'm just piecing things together. It sounds like what she said is that she met him, right? Then that bad incident happened with her and him, and then they stayed together for 6 months after that. That's what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong, but it sounded like in the video it said that I heard bad things about him about a couple of weeks or months into the situation. We did whatever. Then I hear her saying, he would watch her, blah blah blah. He made her feel his presence, blah blah blah, and then he just said, eventually after 6 months she left Andrew. So it sounds like this wasn't a one-time occurrence, that the incident, whatever happened. They were intimate for a while, for at least 6 months, until she left. Or I don't know if they were intimate, but they were around each other or together for a while after she. So like I said, like, there's just so much that I don't know, right? Like, this would have to go, evidence would have to be presented by him and by her for me to be able to make sense of what's happening. I'm not saying he did it. I'm not saying he did, because I don't know any of them. I don't know what happened. But it just sounds like there's more to the story just based on what I'm hearing. It didn't seem like, two strangers just running into each other in the night and then some random bad incident happened and they never saw each other again. Like, it sounds like they had a relationship. Maybe that relationship was toxic, I don't know. But definitely, that shouldn't happen to anyone if that did actually happen.
For 6 months, Amelia eventually left Andrew when she says she began to fear for her own life. In 2014, she also decided to report the incident to police, who logged it.
A year after, I got a phone call from a police officer from Hertfordshire Police. She said to me, "We have 2 other girls that have come forward and said the exact same thing as you. Would you please be willing to come onto this investigation to make this case stronger?" And without any hesitation, I said yes. And I thought, well, if there's 2 other girls, I'm not alone now. I'm not alone.
One of those women was Sally. She was 20 when Andrew Tate approached her for webcam work. Due to fears of harassment from his fan base, she is also withholding her real name.
First night that I worked for him, Andrew bought me like 5 bottles of wine. So I got completely drunk because I'd never done webcam work. So I was very, very nervous. Then that night, we were just sitting on the bed and Andrew punched me in my arm. I went to the bathroom and cried. It really, really hurt to have someone just hit me in the arm for no reason. I was very confused.
That's so random. Like, why would you punch a chick and, maybe he did it? That would have been stupid if he did.
So then when I came out of the bathroom, he was super, super nice. Like, from what I remember, Andrew didn't have any alcohol at all. It was literally just me that night we cuddled and we ended up having sex, and I was really, really drunk. That was my first night. Then it was kind of like every single night I would work.
Were there any other instances where there was physical abuse?
He used to strangle us as well. There was another time when he came into the bedroom, me and the other girl, we would sleep in the same bed with Andrew, but at this time the girl had a partner, so she was not interested in Andrew at all. And I had gone to the shower, I came back and I noticed he was, like, I saw him raping her. And when he threatened to beat me up in the bathroom, and he said, "Oh, I don't give a fuck if you call the police, I'm going to beat the shit out of you." That's kind of when I knew, I had to get out of there. I stopped working for Andrew about March, April time, and I went to the police shortly after that. Nothing was done, really. The other girl that he had raped, she went to the police, and then that's when they arrested him and took him into custody for like 2 days. When Andrew was arrested, we were taken in for a proper interview, and it kind of just got left. I would send emails asking them to update. I'd hear nothing back.
When we reached out to Hertfordshire Police about this, they had this to say. We acknowledge that there were some delays to the investigation. This was addressed at the time and apologies were made. The decision to prosecute based on the police's evidence would be up to the Crown Prosecution Service.
Unfortunately, they turned around and just said, "Oh, we can't continue this case anymore. It's just insufficient evidence."
You witnessed the rape occurring. Did that not count as evidence for them?
No. They openly said it's really, really difficult to prove rape. Very difficult.
The Crown Prosecution Service said, in this case, we carefully reviewed all the evidence provided by the police regarding each complainant and concluded it did not meet our legal test and there was no realistic prospect of a conviction. In the UK...
So, if...
Wait. One thing I didn't know was his webcam business, he actually have that women living in the house with him?
Yes.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not I hired this chick in this spot and another chick in Idaho.
Nah.
All remote. They actually live in my house.
Not all 75. So he had 75 girls at his peak, right? And he and some of the girls lived in different houses because they all obviously couldn't have lived in his house. But there was a good amount that lived in the same house with him. And the ones that lived in the house with him and his brother were his girlfriend and his brother's girlfriend. So maybe they had like 10, 20 girls in the house with them, right? And then the rest of the 75 lived in other houses that he owned and operated.
Gotcha. So now Iggy messaging is not in sync with the war room?
What are you talking about?
We were talking about Iggy's messaging is inconsistent with his messaging, but he has women living in his household.
I never said that.
No one said anything about messaging not being consistent.
You said Iggy's messaging.
I said, what's the problem with what's happening with Iggy?
I guess it morphed into what the actual problem could be.
What is the actual problem, though? You're not saying it.
Right now, he has a sex shopist atmosphere. I made up the term.
What's the sex shop atmosphere?
No. Okay, so he's housing the women. He's doing the webcam business. So we said it's OnlyFans adjacent or sex adjacent. He's actually interacting and having sex with some of them. Whether it, this is all messy. This is crazy. It's crazy.
He has sex with every one of them that he considered his girlfriend. He used to have sex with them as a reward for making the most money.
Wow.
It's like I get it. It's a hard thing to understand, right?
Huh.
It's a hard thing to understand how, but he's living a different life. It's not the life that you.
Oh, hold on. Let me bring up an example. I'm gonna let you go, Walker. If I brought up Hugh Hefner, what's the difference between his lifestyle? Playboy Bunnies, magazine, they got paid same way. Centerfolds lived in his house. A couple of those centerfolds were his girlfriend, and he had a 20-year-old girlfriend, 20 in as his girlfriend or wife up until he was 90 or 80, whatever age that he died.
Never agreed with his lifestyle and never knew why he never got arrested or anything. Because I know all in the back end, a lot of nonsense was going on also, right? So, and however they brushed it under the rug, there's no difference. There's no difference. I'm not going to say.
So you think Hugh Hefner?
It's just that Hugh Hefner never got hemmed up and locked up.
So you think Hugh Hefner should have got arrested and go to jail?
You have to
having a Playboy Bunnies?
Yo, whatever. But on this specific thing, if this is his life, Kenny was leading into this. If this is his life, if he's talking about Pimp Hoes Academy with a degree, it evolves into Hustlers. It evolves into, oh yeah, I have a webcam business where I have the women and I got access to 75 women. If we're not looking at messaging, and then we look at exactly the wording that he's saying, which is this, that, and he said any kid in Singapore could chop it up to make him look like the bad guy. We have someone who's giving a messaging, who's living a lifestyle that others are reaching to be. So when we have people swiping their cards for $49 a month, paying $5,000 to go to the war room, they know what they're paying for. They're paying for this lifestyle and this imaging. For the guy who used to be the drug dealer driving the car. What?
The war room's not $49. The four room.
No. That's at 5,000. That's the 5,000.
Right.
But okay.
But I'm saying, like, they see who the alpha is of that. They know what they're signing up for. They literally are seeing he's the president. He's the one. He got like 10 shorties at any given time, right? So we can't say that there's not the audience of the most impressionable people that can decipher. When he says carry a sword around, he is being extravagant. Who would carry a sword around when we already are painting him as there's gonna be people who want to be him. They're gonna idolize and lick the ground that he walks on, right?
So wait a minute. So are we all babies now?
Are we all babies?
I don't understand. Like,
I don't think we're babies.
Do we all have to be handheld? And if the message, hold on. Let me understand something. So it's okay to have RuPaul's drag show. Where it's okay to have that, and if RuPaul has a platform and he gets free speech, or she gets free speech, and the people who made it's just like, all right. So the point that I'm making is this: like, every section has their following. Right? Every section has their following. There are people that are going to be into this. There are going to be people who are going to be into that. Why is if he's doing things that are illegal, if he's doing things that are counterproductive in terms of hurting people or whatever the case may be.
Like this?
Like what? Like what? Having a house full of women that he's propping up? What? What's the big deal?
Like rape allegations?
Okay.
Oh, okay. So speaking of,
I acknowledge those. I acknowledge those. I acknowledge those allegations if they are found to be true, and if they're founded and he's convicted of them and they find proof of them, by all means, okay, have at it. However, that wasn't the case.
So because
that wasn't the case,
immediately go to the hospital and give his sperm that's leaking out of her, Like
Yo,
to
bro,
come to
listen.
because that did not happen. Oh, I'm sorry, he didn't have conclusive evidence.
So where
Really?
does this stop then? So where does this stop?
Where
So
does
where does this stop? So
what
someone died, someone gets shot up, 2 towns from me, right? And I fit the description. They come in the house, they beat down my door. I'm at home with my kids, but I fit the description, and they just say, "Oh yeah, that's him. That's him." I go to jail for something that I have no clue about or anything like that. And so now you're basically saying that if they found if for whatever reason I happen to be in that area and they found my DNA somewhere and they linked my DNA to that area, so now I'm going down for something because all right, my DNA was in the area, right? If so, my defense would be okay, I was nowhere to be found or whatever or nowhere to be found in this scenario, but they linked me with DNA, and now I go to jail for 100 years. So what I'm saying is that would be justified based on the fact that there's DNA evidence found in the presence in your scenario.
No,
because
I'm saying if she got raped, she would have went to the doctor. They would have took whatever.
Stop saying that word, number one.
Okay, all right. We could add a beeper to this, like, and it could get beeped afterwards. But that,
bro, this is live.
This is live. There's no
I'm
beep.
live. We can have an editor go back and put beep, beep, beep over that specific word, and we could just let it rock. Because
we could not say it.
They even saying it in the video. It's being said. The video says it.
Don't mean we have to say it.
Okay, agreed. Okay, I hear you. I'll try to fall back on it. So this is the problem. She did not go specifically the next day to report it. And because they don't have a sample in the hospital is the reason the police are saying we can't even go any further.
No. You're assuming that's not what they said. That is not what they said.
Okay.
Hold on. It has nothing to do with them having a sample or not having a sample, because she clearly states that she was in his life. She was living in his house, or not even. I don't know, because she didn't say living in his house, but she was with him for 6 months. She left him after 6 months. So it's not about
the workers now. We're talking about his workers now.
No, we're talking about Amelia. The girl.
No, we're talking about the one who walked in. She has a boyfriend. She's seen her friend getting.
But she didn't complain. The girl that's hold on. The girl that's sitting there saying that she saw the girl get raped. She's the one making the complaint. The girl that she is claiming that happened to isn't the one that's saying anything.
She came through the next day. They said she also reported.
Yeah, they did say that.
They did. Both of them are in it. Her and her friend both are in it. And then they're saying that wasn't strong enough. She's like, but I watched it. She's here saying it happened. And they were like, sorry, we don't have that. And that's why I got frustrated, because she didn't go to the doctor the next immediate day or that second is the reason the police are like,
that's not it's just like the whole point that we're saying, that I'm saying, is that just because someone says it and it's basically being put out there without knowing the whole story, it's just like you're believing it one-sided, and I completely understand where you're coming from. That's a terrible thing to go through, but like there's got to be something that links to the criminal activity. There's got to be something that is linked, because if it's not linked and we're just going off based off, if this person points at you and says you did this and you're going to jail, what world are we setting ourselves up for? Is what I'm saying.
Hold on. One more point that I want to make. It's not about linking him to the crime based on semen or them having sex. It's clear that he has sex with all those women. I don't think he's denying that they had intercourse. I don't think that is the argument. So whether they go to the hospital or whether they don't go to the hospital, that's not what the denial is based on. The denial is, and I'm assuming this, of course,
whether it was forcibly taken.
Exactly, whether it was forcibly done. And the reason why I'm saying that is because both these girls lived in the house. She said both these women slept in the same bed with this guy, right? So two women are not sleeping in a bed with a man with a coat and a chastity belt on, right? Then a webcam business, then lingerie all day. He clearly has sex with both of them. So that's not in question. Whether they had intercourse or not is not in question. It's like Walken said, was it forced on them, right? And that's where it gets muddy, because without evidence, right? How do you know if it was forced? Because it's not whether he penetrated them. That's not the question, because yeah, he did, right? And the thing is with them, with the webcam, he had cameras everywhere. He had cameras everywhere, right? And so the prosecution or the crown prosecution, they didn't say specifically why they didn't move forward with the case 4 years ago, but it should be telling that they decided not to, because if they could make a case about it, they would.
So that we know people get paid and whatever, like for them to not proceed is not really strong evidence that, oh my God, he's vindicated and cleared, whatever, right? So I'm not gonna pretend like the world.
Wait. So we get this straight. So if he gets found guilty, then the jury convicted him. He's guilty. If they say, yo, based on what we seeing, we can't prosecute this, right? Then Then it's well, just because they can't prosecute him doesn't mean that nothing happened.
Like you said, either way, just like you guys said, well, there was no semen, so we can't really say anything. But okay,
it's not that there was no semen. They know that they had sex. There was definitely semen. Definitely semen.
It's not about the semen. What we can't do is say because he has sex or webcam workers and they all live in the house, and because he's their boss, there's no way that if they don't want it and he forces it upon them and they ever come and say, hey, I didn't want it, and then now it's like it's all
the girls that live with him were his girlfriends. She even said with him, she was with him.
She said one of them got a boyfriend and didn't want to be with them anymore.
Okay, all right.
Anymore.
Hold on a second. Two things. That was so we're establishing that at one point she was his girlfriend, right?
No. I think if we go back, I think she said that maybe she had a boyfriend. I don't think they had it previously.
No, they did, because she said they used to sleep in the same bed with him, right? Her and this other girl slept in the same bed with Andrew.
But she wasn't interested.
But then she got a boyfriend, so she wasn't interested. So that's the story that's being told, right? And like I said, right, all well and good. Wait, that happening to anyone is bad, and it should never happen. Period. But because of the dynamics of their lifestyle and how they lived, I would need to understand more of the story, the backstory, and the story subsequently to get a better sense of what really happened. Just like the way I'm seeing it is like, if I'm a person on the jury, I would have to listen to the whole story.
He seems like he doesn't know what no means, though. I mean, just he feels like he has access to you. If he feels he has access to you, he feels he has access to you. If it goes his head, it turns him on even more. Whatever.
And he talks crazy, right? And listen, let me say something. I can't even rationalize it because I don't know him. I've never met him. I can't speak for him. All I know is the stuff that I see, the same thing people see online. I heard him say, I've heard him say, and also that he doesn't even attempt to get with girls, right? He's like when he gets up, when he dates a girl, or when he's with a girl, they have to pressure him to have sex, because if she doesn't show that she's into it even a little bit, he doesn't even try. He was like, they have to press him for him to get it.
I think he's at that level now, but he wasn't always at that level.
No, but he said that back then, right? He was like when he was in the when he was doing the webcam, when there was so many women, he was like, it was just too much, and so that's why he used to use sex as a tool to reward women for doing well, because he didn't really want to have sex with them, right? And so if a woman doesn't show that she was really like, if she wasn't coming at him for it, he wasn't trying to, he ain't trying to move her one way or the other, right? That's what he says, but I don't know him. I've never met him. Maybe that's true, maybe that's not, right? And then you have these allegations, and so, don't know. But like I said, if I'm looking at it as a person of the jury, I would have to hear the whole story. I have to hear both sides, and then I'll make a determination.
Let's make it through this last 3 minutes.
3 minutes.
They got a stat up here. I wanted to hear the stat.
Okay.
Only 1 in 100 reported rapes result in a charge, let alone a conviction. In a statement issued via his lawyer in Romania, Tate denied the assault or rape. He said, "They wanted money because I fired them. The police understood after the investigation that I am innocent, and the police found messages from the girls' phones where they were talking between themselves and planning to lie about me." Saturday, the CPS sent a letter saying that one of the reasons they didn't charge Tate was because they found voice notes on our phones where we talked about whether we should tell the police that he gave us alcohol. We were talking about it because that is what happened. He used to get us drunk.
They clearly didn't speak. A text from a man to a woman saying, "I love raping you."
Who texts that?
What I do to you is abusive and controlling. To CPS, apparently, that's not enough.
I would like to hear the whole context of all that.
The bravest thing I think I ever done in my life, which was hell, 4 years of absolute hell, going through an investigation without anyone knowing, and basically to do it alone, was all a waste.
Despite repeated requests, Tate's lawyer did not provide a response to Amelia's allegations. The Romanian investigation into Andrew Tate and his brother finally led to an arrest on the 29th of December.
The Matrix has attacked me.
Police accused them of using the Loverboy method to traffic at least 6 women into a Romania-based webcam sex business. But we now know similar allegations have dogged Tate for years. His followers are obsessed with the idea that the Matrix is conspiring against him. But if anyone in the story is the victim of a conspiracy, is it the multi-millionaire celebrity? Or is it the women who claim they were abandoned by the system?
You see all these young men talking about how he's such a great guy and he's their idol and stuff, and that's so difficult to see. There are better role models out there. Don't be fooled by all the money and the nice cars and all the women. Working on yourself and becoming a better man and better mindset. Yeah, but real men don't.
Yeah, but up. All right. So that's the video, right? You see how they sweep the message under? Yeah, be better about yourself and do this and do that. But it's like, all right. Personally, I don't look at him as a role model, at least not for my life. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something that I look for as like, but some of the things that he says, some of the things that Jordan Peterson says, some of the things that Kevin Samuels say resonate with me, because I definitely feel like there is a clear agenda. Now for me, I pick pieces of, I do that with everything. I do that with all things that I look up to, or I try to take the good out of it, and I extract what I extract the good out of it. And if there is some craziness mixed all in there, or if there's some allegations mixed all in there, that doesn't change the fact that part of what he's saying can still resonate and be true. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be all clear. It's like it's 100% all good or 100% all bad. Nah, man, nobody's perfect, and there are things that, and I'm sure there are things in each and every one of our lives that we probably wouldn't want to go public. You know what I mean? I'm sure everybody is always quick to point fingers, and everybody's always quick to down this person or down that person, when each and every one of us, guaranteed, walking this earth has something that would probably make us not look like, you know, the person that we want to portray, or that everybody has demons. Everybody has things that happen. Does that mean that a person that has demons can't say something intelligent? Does that mean that a person, you know what I mean? Like, they always say drunk men tell no tales, right? You know that old saying. Some of the most profound shit can come from somebody who's like, you know, a despicable person. I mean, I'm not calling dude a despicable person because I don't know if he ends up going to jail, then hey, you know, if they end up, you know, convicting him on some of these allegations, then hey, those things that he did weren't, you know, I don't condone those things. But just because I don't condone what he did doesn't mean that some of the things he says is not true or not something that can be used in your life as a positive. That's all it is. That's how I see it.
You want to go, Harold? This is going to be the final summary for each of us.
Yeah. So you stated, Kenny, that you stated that basically you can decipher and you don't look to him as a role model, but I think the messaging here is there's so many that do, right? And because you could differentiate, like, I'm not too big on that, but that makes sense. There's so many that everything he says just makes sense to them, right? And we can go as low as 11. They even interviewed 11-year-old, you know? So those impressionable years, if he has audience.
Where's the dad? Where's the mom? Why is your 11-year-old watching Andrew
I
Tate?
hear you, but we were young too. Really? Our parents were into what we were doing? Not really, though. Not really.
You know what? You know what? Yes. My look, I still did it, but but listen, when I was 8 years old trying to listen to rap music, trying to listen to Dr. Dre talking about, you know, fuck the police.
Yeah.
I had the volume on low, or I had little headphones on, or whatever the case
there
be.
too. Yeah.
Bro, like, my pops was there.
I feel
my
you.
pops would take the belt to me and be like, yo, nah, this music ain't for you.
Different
I
era.
gravitated towards it.
Different era. Not gonna deny it's a different era, but
so don't tell me about the 11-year-old.
Nah. I am gonna tell you about that.
Nah, that's not my job to police the 11-year-old.
Technology is profound. All they need to do is have a phone and there's a rap already. Parents cannot definitely keep control of all of that. However, I am gonna.
You know what? You're speaking to a guy who has an 11-year-old.
If his audience,
who pays for the phone?
No, hold on.
Who pays for the phone?
You're speaking to a guy who actually has an 11-year-old. I have an 11-year-old. And guess what? You know what my 11-year-old is on right now? Punishment. She hadn't had her phone in 2 weeks.
Okay. I know how strict the Haitian households can get. So
it's
kudos
okay.
To you.
So then what's the problem?
Kudos to you and the rest of the world.
She hasn't had her phone in 2 weeks.
Household. We could say that, but let me finish my part. Right. So what I was trying to say is, if it's as impressionable as young little 11-year-olds, I mean, there was TikTok challenges with people drinking bleach and these damn kids were doing it.
Where's the parents?
Again, TikTok challenge. That's
an indictment on the parents.
Don't even know what TikTok.
That's not an indictment on Andrew Tate. That's an indictment on the parents.
So thank you for being his defense.
What the fuck are you doing in your house?
I will continue finishing what I was saying. So if it's as young and as impressionable as 11 years old, we know how sensitive those years are, right? So, and I think they would idolize him as a role model. It's easy to paint him as a role model for people who are trying to find themselves, you know, even as the young buck 20-year-olds. He's very impressionable, and he's going to have an audience that's going to only amplify, especially if he's using the TikTok and affiliate marketing to get his messaging out there. I do not like the fact, and I heard a couple of women talk about it, that he gets them drunk, especially if he's not drinking himself. I think that puts, I mean, Kenny, I know you don't drink, right? You know, you don't drink at all, right? So I think when people don't drink and they're in the atmosphere of that's all they're flooding people with, alcohol, I think it takes and inebriates them. It puts them in a weakened state. And if he's, I don't know what his mind is doing, but if he's 100% sober and has the ability to just punch somebody in the arm just because, like, can't say I was drunk, can't say whatever. So the fact that he's putting himself in that environment, he does have the women that are housed with him, and it's just messy. It's murky, cloudy. Just don't really understand. I hear a lot of the women talking about he's like the Sour Patch. Like, he'll do something mean, and then the next second he's like back to normal.
Bro, remember our conversation?
Huh?
You didn't hear what he just said?
I heard what he said.
So, but it's interesting. I didn't know a lot about him. I learned from both you're talking about him and what some of his deeper messages are, but I also heard from this, and it was a rough outline as to his path. It does seem like it's been consistent as early as 2011, and so some of the recurring things that are going on, he put himself in an industry that's just going to be questionable. And I mean, if they want to say sex type workers or whatever, he's literally in that industry. So I guess I understand when they say sex ring now. It makes a little bit more sense why they're classifying it as such. So I learned. Thank you for putting me through this and hearing you guys' perspective. But I am not going to deny that he is in a position of where he has influence over a generation of people looking to be influenced. That's it.
So, okay. So you don't take you don't take anything positive from him at all.
Anything positive? I just generalized. What are we doing here?
I'm asking you a question. I'm asking, do you have anything positive that you take from him?
He thinks he's trying to create.
Do you have anything positive? I ain't asking what you think he's trying. I'm asking you a yes or no question. Do you find anything positive about this man?
I was trying to answer.
I just need a yes or no. You about to go into some long story. I need a yes or no.
If it's gonna be just a yes or a no, I'll say no.
Okay.
All right. So let me give my final summary. There's a lot in this message or in this documentary, but I think the majority of what was in there was one-sided, and it was in a negative light, right? I think, Harold, before you make a determination about who he is or who he's not, you should listen to his other interviews and long-form content so you can have a fair assessment of who he says he is, who other people say he is, outside of what you hear on
that documentary.
This documentary. I think that's the first thing.
I agree.
The second thing is, when you look at the world, there are a lot more people than just Andrew Tate that's influencing and trying to influence the world. And if you had to rank all of them from the worst of the worst to the best of the best, Andrew Tate in my opinion, would not be with the worst of the worst that is trying to influence the world.
Agreed.
Now, granted, his perspective is very male dominant, right? His perspective is very take accountability for your actions. His perspective is become important, become rich, become successful, take care of your family, take care of your women, take care of your children. Those are all very positive things.
And none of that was actually put into the documentary, by the way.
Right. And those are
None
all
of those things
positive.
that he actually says.
Those are all positive things. Now, having said that, his perspective on how you actually do those things as a man is by being dominant. He is willing to put his life on the line for the people for the people that he loves, and he's willing to die for the women that are in his life. One of the things that he says is, if we're walking down the street and someone comes to attack me, you as my woman, I want you to run. I'll stand and fight. If it had to be me and you, I'll take the bullet, not you, right? So that's his perspective. So he's extreme in his expression of love and care for his family, but he's also extreme in the way that he describes his relationships. But I think the way he describes relationships, he does that for the purposes of marketing, right? Because he would die, right? But he also wants his woman to do certain things and lives a certain type of lifestyle along with him, right? And so, as I stated earlier, it comes down to what it is that you want as a woman, as a person, as an individual. Do you want a man like that? Do you want to drive? Do you want to fly in a private plane? Do you want to be in a Bugatti? Do you want to have a Rolls Royce? Do you want that lifestyle? If you want that lifestyle with a man like him, then these are the parameters you have to live within. That's not for everyone. Not everyone can live that. It's not, and so for me, it doesn't change one way or the other. Now, you're saying in terms of influence, right? I know a lot worse people that try to influence kids all over. You have pedophiles all over trying to influence kids. You have Balenciaga influencing kids with what they're doing, right? BDSM or whatever it is that they try to do, right? Like you just have so many people doing so many dumb and worthless things. And to say that, his message and his influence is bad, it's like when you take the totality of his message, some of it is not to everyone's liking, but the core of his message is good, right? And that's just my opinion. And so I wouldn't mind my son listening to that, because if you're telling my son to be the best he can be as a man, to protect his sister, to protect his mother, to if he has a child, to protect his child, to protect his wife, and become the best version of himself, right? If that comes at the price of him dominating his household, right? As long as he's not beating on his woman and he's standing firm on his values. Listen, having a webcam girl and that webcam girl paying Andrew Tate money is the least of my worries, right? Because I didn't hear anything about them being chained, locked up, based on what the girls that actually I heard speak, outside of the accusations that the police are accusing him of, right? So I say all that to say, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Get a broader perspective before you make a final determination. I think there are some good and some bad in everyone. Chew the meat and spit out the fat, right?
Yeah.
So I think this was a great show.
No. I want to say something. So I would say, thank you for that. I do think I need a bigger perspective. That's why I answered Kenny's question specifically on base what I learned today. One thing I'm interested to hear or to see that you both are actually doing is you do recognize him as a performer, right? And someone who hyperbolizes and magnifies and says stuff that you can be like, oh, okay, that's just him being extra, right? that when he does say, yo, you know what, if it's a fight, I'm going to tell my woman to run so I can fight. And then you can focus on, you know what, that's his real message. And I'm like, as a performer, can't he say, now I want to be extreme, and then now I'm going to give something logical? Like, you never know when his performance is turned off, right? If we're looking at influencers or people who are in a space and they can give a positive message, hopefully I don't get canceled for this, but once upon a time ago, there was a Hitler that gave a message that resonated with his audience, and it was positive enough, and they were able to see so much positive from it, and it yielded and got them to whatever point that it got them to, right? So the fact that we could say, well, he would defend his woman, but in the same thing, we have supposed allegations that he is abusive, that he has done physical stuff, that he has raped, I'm looking at partition of him saying these things. That's wrong. I mean, that's not truly him. But when he says, I'll defend my woman because he really chose her, and that's right. But these rapes and these are just like, you're segmenting someone who's in a controversial space in general anyway. I don't have a lot of information from him, so I can be super focused on based off of what I heard and everything. But it's interesting to hear that all the elements are still in the same circle, but y'all can partition and be like, he's not performing when he says, I'll defend my woman, I'll defend the people that I love. And in his whatever voice that he speaks in. I don't know why he speaks that way, but whatever. But it's interesting because I'm hearing, and his audience will do the same exact thing. They'll be like, oh, but his messaging is just be a better person. And that's what they want to hold on to. You know, like I think everyone's hearing, you know, so I'm hearing a performer.
So how
that the performer can speak in different voices, and some voices resonate with the more mature audience, and then he has the wildness that's gonna resonate.
When you go, all right, so when you go watch a performance of any kind, does the person, if they're in character, do they say, okay, this is the part where nobody does that. Like, I don't understand what you're trying to make him, you know, you're asking him to segment the way.
No, I'm saying you guys are segmenting. You're like, well, his actual messaging is defend the ones you love and honor that, and then be a better person. That's his real messaging. And I'm like, I'm still seeing this him in character. If he wants to go on one show and be outrageous, and then go on another show where Kenny can say people hated him, but he made them love him,
he's still saying the same outrageous stuff.
Okay. But he's
still mixed into that.
Okay,
but he's making a lot of sense with what he's saying. He's still triggering people. Even when he goes on the shows, when he turns people around, he's still triggering them. He's still saying things that they disagree.
I don't have enough of his material to go.
He's still saying things that my whole thing is this, right? We want to talk about influences. We want to talk about these precious 11-year-olds that are so, impressionable and they don't know any better and this and that. I'll leave you with this. I once saw a clip, right? We want to talk about these influencers. I once saw a clip of Cardi B. She was on her Instagram Live or whatever she was on. I think she was either cleaning up or sweeping the house or whatever she was doing. And she was playing one of her songs. She was playing one of her songs, pandering to her audience. She's got it going in. She's got it, all this cursing, wop, 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 wet ass this, wet ass that. Her daughter walks in. Her daughter walks in from the other room. Her daughter must have been in the other room somewhere else. And she, in her mind, she had this space alone. Her daughter comes walking in and on the live. You know what Cardi B does? She immediately turned off the music. She immediately turned off the music and said, hey, baby, what you doing in here? Because she was twerking and doing all of this stuff when the camera was on. But when her baby, her own child, walked in, her music, not anybody else's music, her own music that she's pushing out to those same impressionable 11-year-old girls that you're talking about, she stopped it. She stopped it. Why? Because she understands that that's her child. She doesn't even want her own child taking to that message. Where are the parents? Where I sit down with, I'm not saying I'm the greatest parent of all time, but I sit down with both my kids and say, hey, this is a movie. This is not real. Hey, baby girl, you know, a lot of these songs, they say a lot of crazy stuff. That's not actual life. You have to understand that. I sit there and I have that conversation. So if Cardi B is pushing out her music, talking about wet ass this and wet ass that to all the other, so all her fans are teenage moms, you know, or young single moms with little kids, and the moms are sitting there with their daughter on their lap playing the WAP, playing this and that wet ass pussy while they're cooking or doing whatever in their house. But Cardi B, who is the author of the song, doesn't let her own daughter listen to that song.
So
that right there in a nutshell should tell you that there is an agenda and that there is people who will push whatever they'll push. And the whole thing about it is that it's not the artist's responsibility to police your house. So if the 11-year-old child is consuming it, that's not their doing.
So I agreed, but the parents cannot be home 24/7. I hear when you put it.
That's not her fault. That's not Cardi B's fault. That's not Andrew Tate's fault.
I hear you. But we cannot say where are the parents when parents are doing their
Yes,
best.
we can, bro. No, stop it.
You can't absolve the parents.
Stop it.
You can't absolve the parents and want to put the onus on the artist.
Your child, a parent is the number one teacher for their child, the first and the number one, right? You cannot say it's Andrew Tate's issue to make sure that all the children in the world are not listening to him, or he has to change his message so that when the kids are listening to him, they hear something else.
I'm just saying people are impressionable. I'm saying there's the audience that are just gonna.
But people have always been impressionable, right? And that doesn't stop the movie industry from having the movies that they have, right? When you have Iron Man, Spider-Man, or whatever villains doing whatever that they're doing, people go and watch it. Kids buy those posters. They idolize those people. They idolize those characters. It happens. There's no difference between people idolizing Andrew Tate or kids idolizing Andrew Tate or any other character in any other movie. Kenny was talking about, him, wanting to listen to Dr. Dre and NWA when he was younger. Okay, that's not NWA's problem for your kid to be listening to his music. Kenny is not NWA's problem, right? And so what I want to say to you is this. If Andrew Tate committed any of those crimes that they say that he committed, and he actually committed them, then fine. Let the chips fall where they may, and let him pay the consequences. What I'm saying is, as a juror, right? Because they're gonna try you with a jury of your peers, and I'm not a Romanian, so they're not gonna select me. But as a juror of the general public, a general public juror, because we're all jurors now in the general public, because you get crucified in a court of public opinion before you even get crucified in a court. And to be honest, the crucifixion or the punishment that you get in the public opinion sometimes is more harsh than what you get in a courtroom, unless you do something really crazy and bad and they put you in jail, right? For the rest of your life, or put you in jail, right? But as a juror of public opinion, I don't have enough information, enough facts for me to make sense of any of the accusations that were leveled against him. I know that he had sex with those girls. I don't know if he raped those girls. I know what the girls are saying, and that they did experience that, but there's no way for me to judge or prove that. She said that she slept and the other girl slept in the same bed with Andrew Tate. And it sounds like they slept in the bed with him because, after all this happened, right? So basically, some incident happened. 6 months later, you leave. So within that time, you're still sleeping in the bed with him, right? And but I don't know their situation. I don't know the dynamics. I don't know I don't know, right? And I'm just here on one side without any other context. And so I'm not.
The two stories. One was his supposed girlfriend in the beginning of 2013, and then the other ones were his sex workers later on that did sleep in the same bed with him.
They all slept in the bed with him.
Well,
The
first
all
one in
three girls,
2013. The first
all
one
three,
in 2013 sound like it was his
all
girlfriend.
three girls slept in the bed with him. The one that Amelia slept in the bed with him.
Amelia sounded like a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship, though.
Right.
Right.
But no, it doesn't matter. Sally slept on the bed with him. What he says is that any girl that did the webcam that lived in the house with him was his girlfriend. Half of them was his girlfriend. Half of them were his brother's girlfriend.
Yeah.
So the girls that were sleeping in bed with him was his girlfriend.
All right. So this guy, whatever mixed messaging he has, is still putting that sex webcam business out there, and he's dangling it like a carrot. So the people who are swiping their cards, they see that dangled carrot, whether it's the $49 plan, whether it's the $5,000 plan. They see a lifestyle where even his number two, where a lifestyle of you can have this too. I'm going to show you what.
So what?
So what is the question? So basically, he has the platform. He's dangling that specific carrot in front of them, and the audience are getting influenced. They even have the locker room environment where they can brag like, "Oh yeah, I had my girl do this.
So
you had
what?
your girl do." Like it's
so
not
what?
a healthy environment.
Not healthy for who?
Is not. It sounds like trouble.
Not healthy. Trouble for who? So my perspective is this, right? People have different lifestyles. So what? There are places in the world where women just sit in the kitchen all day and they don't go to a 9-to-5 or a job. So what?
Bro, if I'm a Saudi prince, I got 18 wives right now, and ain't shit you could do about it.
Right. So my point is, I don't care what their lifestyle is. That's the way they want to live. So what? And if they're putting their lifestyle out there, and someone is saying, "Yo, I like that. I want to have that." So what?
You're assuming they're successful. You're not listening to the person who is going to listen to him, think that they have this dangle carrot that they could eventually get to. And now when the woman's saying no, well, he could, and they just continue. And then now
people lose in life. Everyone's not gonna get everything they want. So there's only one Andrew Tate. If any other man wants to go out there and be Andrew Tate, they may not get there. So what?
I don't know what we're talking about anymore right now, actually.
So what we're talking about?
No, because you said it's not healthy,
right?
He's raising a class of people that is ambitious to have their version of his life.
So what?
What? Okay, so Harold, do you understand for them to attain that life, that they have to create value in the world? Like that life is not going to just come to you. It's not going to just be given to you.
Agreed.
So for you to get the Bugatti that's attracting that caliber of female, it's not going to be just anybody sitting in that Bugatti seat. Like you have to be that dude, and you have to have done something to attain that, to get that mansion to house all of those, to get that mansion to house all of those girls. It's not a regular dude doing that.
Just like, and I think you guys did this with Kevin Samuels, the high value men preaching and living his life and his ideals and ideologies made sense to y'all. But I was telling you all the people who fell short of that, who were still
there's not an industry that attracts that. There's not an industry that doesn't do that. What do you think athletes are? Every little kid who picks up a basketball at 8 years old wants to be LeBron James. Are they going to get there? No.
Okay.
So what is the difference?
So
what are you talking about?
Okay, so what's happening now?
So you're gonna say so the people who are in entertainment, who are idolized by these kids, and these 99% of these kids are not gonna make it to, they're not gonna achieve that success. They're not gonna attain that. And so basically what you're saying is that everybody who's picked up a basketball since LeBron James stopped playing, is that because they're not gonna make it to that level, they shouldn't aspire to it, or is something wrong in looking at him as some type of goal because it's not healthy?
So once upon a time ago, drug dealers used to be on the corner driving those cars, and people were worried that the drug dealers were on the corner doing that because the kids who saw them and saw the nice cars and the money that they had and the ladies that they had, it was immediate, in your face, immediate gratification that, all I need to do is do that and I could aspire to become him. It was negative in our immediate environments because that was single-handedly what was in front of the kid's face, and people were worried about that, and they had the right to be worried about that, right? So we could go back historically to look at that one incident and know that that was a problem, right?
So
what we have now is a man who has a platform, and it's immense. He has an affiliate marketing to get his messaging out there. Just like we could look at that drug dealer who was like, I don't know if I understand or believe fully in what his message is and what he's trying to portray to everyone, or to the youth who were the impressionable ones. We have a different environment, different box where it can be amplified even further. So like you're saying, nobody is aspiring to be that basketball player or who have the hopes, and they'll always fall short. We are always skeptical when we have someone giving messaging with a platform, and people can be like, I don't know if I believe in his messaging, or I don't know if that's the healthiest. And that's what I kept saying. It's not the healthiest. Just like we're
what's
looking
unhealthy about it?
It's not.
What's unhealthy about it? What's unhealthy about it?
You're looking at the positives. But
what's unhealthy about it? Just tell me what's unhealthy.
The 15, 16, 17-year-old who's not that confident,
What
trying to play a part, and
what's
has a
unhealthy?
girl say no, and he doesn't understand what no means.
So the first thing that he says to you, if you talk to a woman and she tells you no, so what? Leave her.
That's what he says. But all of these messages, I think he could say whatever he wants and then practice a different thing. He can say whatever he wants.
Oh, okay, so let's back up a couple of things.
Are we?
Hold on, Walker. Hold on.
What he's practicing or what he's saying?
Hold on.
What are we doing?
Hold on, Walker. Let me say something.
In the future, we actually do get actual rape charges against him, but because he's been saying, if a woman says no, believe her, but that's not really what he was doing. Like,
who charged him with rape again?
Again, in the future, when something comes out,
so you're predicting that he's going to get charged with rape.
Well, we're talking in general, but I'm saying you're holding on to there's no real stick charges and all of that stuff.
Wait, so you're predicting that he's going to get charged with rape?
Talking about messaging, and I'm talking about that you shifted it onto, but he still hasn't been charged. So that's why I said
I didn't say anything about he still hasn't been charged.
Okay. Well, what I am saying is, because you said healthy, I think you were going into healthy direction.
No, I said, so what's unhealthy about it?
I gave an example, that 15, 16, 17-year-old kid trying to find himself. Who gets the girl that says no, and he continues. That's a problem.
So basically what you're saying is Andrew Tate's unhealthy because his messaging and what he's saying, if some 15, 16, 17-year-old gets in contact with a girl and the girl tells him no, and then he still pursues her or he attacks her in some ways, where in Andrew Tate's message does he tell a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old boy, if a woman tells you no, attack her?
Well, okay, he's not saying that
specifically. So what are you talking about?
So no. But is he not saying doesn't he not have classes on this is how you get a woman and this is how you this and this?
But where in that messaging does he say if a girl rejects you, attack her? So what are you talking about then?
Fall short.
So what are you talking about then?
His message could fall short. I'm saying I don't know a lot about him. I would like to find out. So are any of you guys in the $49 course? So I can see what this course outline looks like.
I think you should buy it.
I don't think I would waste my life with that.
Nah, I think you seriously need it.
That bullshit. That's all y'all lane. Y'all can stay with that.
You seriously need
tell me about the $5 plan y'all buy into.
No, but listen. Roland makes a great point. The dude is not out here telling people to attack women. If anything, he says the opposite from what I've seen. He says protect women. He says protect women. Women are the words out of his mouth have been, women are the most precious things on this earth. We should protect them at all costs.
His
I mean, he's
has
literally
a
said
webcam
that.
business where his white or whatever is paying him. Like, listen.
So what?
What are you talking about?
So then so how is that?
Okay.
How is so how are you correlating?
You understand?
No. Roland. Listen, I'll give you that. Okay, he runs this.
Roland, not Roland. Harold. You saying Roland? You mean Harold?
No, I'm saying Roland. I'm saying Roland. Listen,
you got
to
it.
this.
All right.
I'll give you that. Okay, he runs a webcam business. This, that, the third. Where are you? How are you correlating that 15, 16, 17-year-old to forcibly attack a woman who says no? Where's the correlation between him having the web business? Where's the what? That's the part that I don't see how you're connecting the two. Where's the correlation? Where's the link?
This is what I heard.
Where's the link?
This is what I heard. There's some men out there that could convince their boo thing or whatever to, hey, why don't you get into the webcam business? Hey, why don't you, give me your proceeds and all of that. That takes a lot of work to get that. You have to find the right type of woman. She has to be into that. You have to mold her into that. There's a lot of work that goes into that, right? So anyone aspiring to even get to that level or has the illusion that they could potentially get to that level can fall short. They have to try to mold someone who may not be willing to, who thinks they're an alpha male, who's like, now I'm like, it's just so much gray area to get to that point that someone who is naturally falling short because they don't have the money, they don't have the power, they don't have that right type of specific equation to mold someone into becoming that, can get a little bit abusive and trying to mold someone into it. It's just a lot of
bro. That's your insecurities, bro. That's your insecurities. Yo, Andrew Tate calls those losers.
Yo,
they are losers. That's what I'm saying.
You're reaching, bro.
Are in this program.
What does the loser have to do with Andrew Tate?
A lot of losers may be in this program and misuse the program, and a lot of bad can come from that.
My man. But so what you're trying to explain to me is that the link where Andrew is so him having a sex webcam business, the link for him to somehow influence men to force themselves on women is because they're losers. Where's the link to him, though?
Okay, wait, Kenny.
This is what you're making the connection that you're making the connection as what he's saying is going to lead. You're saying the consequence of Andrew Tate is going to be men are going to be all of a sudden just going to start attacking women. That's what you're basically saying.
Let me ask you this. You ask me questions like this. So, in this $49 plan, whatever. Wait, are you still there?
We're here.
Yeah.
Okay. The screen went blank on my end. All right. In this $49 program, let's add a number. How many members did we say? He said he had 110,000 subscribers, or was that once upon a time ago?
Right now he probably has 160 or 200,000.
200,000 followers. How many of those?
Not followers. He has millions of followers. He has
200,000 paying subscribers.
200,000. Give me a percentage of how much of them are not in that losers category, swiping that card every single month.
We don't know that demographic.
No idea.
We don't know. But just like we could say, there's the high value people who are actually meeting the mark, who can be like Iggy and who can be like Tate. How percentage wise? Audience,
statistically speaking, based on just general economics, that's a small percentage of men, maybe 1%, maybe less than 1%.
Okay. So that can reach those heights. The losers percentage would be maybe 70-80% of his users are losers.
And to be honest, the men that would be considered on Tate's level probably wouldn't be in his program.
Wouldn't. So we could bump it up to 90 to 95% maybe. We're just going to be like, all right, they're the losers who are going to swipe every single month and they're going to whatever. And their girlfriends are going to be like, oh my God, he's changing. And all of that nonsense is going to happen because they're the losers, how he would call them, who are going to subscribe. It doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter what he does. They're eating up his gold. That's what I'm realizing he is. You and I.
Where in this equation is he telling people to force themselves onto women?
I just let you know how it can go wrong with them trying to think that they can become him.
You are doing a lot of assuming and predicting.
Reaching.
You are doing a lot of assuming and predicting.
What we just said is 90% of his fans may be losers. And I'm saying there's a lot
no, that's not what we said. You look.
90% of his subscribers. He says, come on, we had the same conversation. 200,000 people. How many of them? Oh, he would classify those guys as losers. Blah blah blah. I'm using your jargon.
No. You're conflating things. What I said was the people that would rape a woman, or I'm sorry, the people that would attack a woman for not feeling them. Those I said he would call losers. I didn't say anything about the people who are subscribing for his program. I don't know who.
I tried to say with Kenny that the Iggy, my woman has a webcam. I mean, she's doing the webcam, and when I come home, she hands me over the money. The dangled carrot that they keep giving to the audiences. There's going to be people who will never be able to find the right formula to get a woman to do those type of things.
Let me tell you something. And I'm not even going to say it on the stream because I'm about to go all the way left.
Stream right now.
Because I'm about to go all the way left, and there's and I'm so. Thank you for watching JoobyviewTV. It's been a great conversation. It's the longest stream we've ever had. It's very entertaining. I really enjoyed it. So, again, Roland, co-founder of JoobyviewTV, along with my other two co-founders. What else you guys got to say before you get out of here?
I was trying to think of something real witty, but
when you got to think about it, it ain't that witty.
No. It's like I was thinking if I should go at Harold or not, honestly. But
bro, I was about to go so left. Listen.
But listen. I'll say this. I'll say, you know what? I'm of the belief that, we as adults, we cannot step back and give ourselves excuses and just hand over a child a phone and expect the phone to raise them and expect the TV to raise them. That's not the TV's job. If anything, that should be the opposite. You should monitor your kids in terms of what they're watching and consuming. And if they are consuming something, you need to understand what it is, watch it with them, and then also have those conversations. I don't think the onus is on the artists. I don't think the onus is on the public figure. Even mainstream media has the agenda, has a clear agenda that they're pushing and a narrative that they're pushing as well. So if anything, we're only looking at Andrew Tate's, he's on one end of the spectrum, but there is another end of the spectrum, which is the mainstream media, which that ain't so great either. So if you're saying that Andrew Tate is not healthy, I've pointed out in several instances throughout our 3.5-hour conversation of tainted messages in mainstream media on regular TV. So if we're gonna excoriate one end of the spectrum, then it needs to be fair, balanced, and there needs to be equal pushback on the other narrative as well. I'll leave it at that.
Go ahead, Harold.
So I don't think the media. Yeah, I think the media has a hand too in the messaging that they're putting out there. So as we said, this documentary was 100% one-sided. So I'm not gonna discount that. It just happened to be my intro to Andrew Tate. Didn't really know much more about him beyond everything that was presented to me. So I just think that as an influencer, it is important to understand that you do have a stage and you should be wary of your messaging. So even if it's to get a reaction and whether for good or for bad, I mean, you know what you want to do, right? It's just be wary. And if it gets to the point where you feel that it may get out of hand or it's going left and you're not expecting it to go that way, I mean, just to try to take some form of responsibility and reel people in if you need to, but not to just say, but it's not my fault, and just throw your hands up and say it's not my fault. So I mean, that's just my stance on the world that we live in. I mean, we have influencers, and all I'm gonna say is I think they should have responsibilities. Even though we look across the board, whether it be owning Tesla and going rampant with, your side messages, or being on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I just feel that everyone should be responsible for the messaging that they put out on their platforms and audiences. So that is it. I know Roland said his goodbye. I'm Harold Jean-Louis. 2/3 of the JoobyView crew, 2/3 of the JoobyView crew. And Kenny, you want to say bye?
Peace out, friends.
All right, we out.
Safe.